What difference does it
You
make?
know, like I don't even know. I don't know if I could offer like services in business because there would just be people that I just would not want my services or the goods that I'm providing.
Lee, you sound a
So,
little racist when you say that, because that's what a lot of people have done in the past. True.
it's not based on race, man. I
I
think
didn't
it's
say it was.
equivalent,
I'm just saying it sounds like racism.
and I just want to make sure the people know that it's not rooted in racism at all. You
Well,
know,
black people
there's
can
just
be
certain.
racist. Remember?
That's what they say. I don't keep up with these new definitions and old I don't even know what the truth is anymore. I just know my truth.
And
But
that's a
no,
good
like
place to be.
yes, but no, Parlay Pete. The thing is, when we go out and drink, we prefer a certain crowd to be with us, right?
Correct.
That's the type of crowd like me. If I was like a mom and pop shop owner, I would like that crowd to be. I would like my business crowd to reflect the crowd I like to be around in my social life.
Yeah, just like certain restaurants. I think Ti had a problem with Houston's or something. Certain
Yeah,
establishments say, "Hey, no jeans, no sneakers, no tank tops, no hats, no."
Jordans.
Yeah, there are certain places that do these things, and they put measures into where, well, certainly if somebody even has the balls to walk in here, they have to follow the protocol. And if they don't, all we have to do is point to the sign, and then it's not you, it's you. Like,
I'm
it
sorry.
isn't actually you. There's like, you see that white gentleman there with the glasses, just trying to get a dinner. He's 55 years old, and he's got his 36-year-old hot ass girlfriend that he's been piping for 5 years after the divorce. If he came in here with the hat, we'd decline him too. But he didn't come in here with the hat because he knows how to read. And so
You remember my "Fuck Your Jordans" campaign?
Jordan, what do
Fuck
you
your
mean?
Jordans.
Oh yeah. The whole legendary rant.
Yeah. So, but I used to like when I would go out, I would Snapchat my shoes and say "Fuck your Jordans." Here's why: it was this club I loved to go to in San Diego that didn't allow Jordans, and there were a couple of other spots that I would go to sometimes that didn't allow Jordans. So I
Yeah.
stopped wearing Jordans when I went out, and it was "Fuck your Jordans" because I can't get into places I want to get into because of them.
It's funny. I don't even wear Jordans anymore. I have them, obviously, and I will wear them. But in terms of just going out, man, I stick to like two pairs of tennis shoes. My Yeezys, of course, because they're just,
Mhm.
to me, these are the best ultimate everyday shoe. And then my New Balances. They're both kind of in the same class to me because they're comfortable. They go with everything. And then, I don't know, there's like nothing to them. They're just tennis shoes in a sense.
Yeah, so I still wear Jordans, but almost all of them I treat like all purposes. Like I'll clean them off and stuff, but I'm not making sure the laces are perfectly white and putting them in the washing machine. Like, nah, bro, I'm not doing all that. Like, oh, we're gonna be doing a lot of walking. I'll still wear my Jordans. I don't care. Like, this is what I want to wear, and I
Yeah.
don't buy things not to wear them.
Looks like we got a comment too here on YouTube. Too Easy Podcast. Yo, what's going on? Too Easy Podcast.
It's
Thank you,
happening too easy. Shout out to them. But anyways, Parlay Pete, how you doing today?
We're doing pretty good. Can't complain. Got to see wake up this morning and get another crack at this thing, So
Here's to that.
yeah. How about you? How we doing, AC League?
Man, not too bad. A pretty good day. Great day at work. Stopped by my aunt's house, my great aunt's house for her 80-something birthday party. Good family time. And then
Yeah.
just been here chilling. Preparing for this show that's so funny. We've talked a lot about what we were going to talk about, and we talked for a long time before we pressed record, but we didn't go over the show.
We didn't go over the details. I mean, we put together a rubric of sorts, right? But like,
you know what we want to talk about.
Well, it's a matter of how we want to start off. And we know how we typically start these shows, but unfortunately, the Falcons can't come first. I guess we can, actually. We got a defensive coordinator search going. Here, music. Hit it. Hit it. Because we do have that at least. And then we can transition to the.
Hey, you know what? I played the full rise up because we identified Jimmy Lake as a problem, and we got rid of that problem.
Like any good organization would do.
Yeah.
You got to cut off the pinky to save the hand. And if you let Rocco tell it, that's that gangrene. He said it, not me. He did.
You know, I really hate that Future had to make all that money off of Future and stop rapping.
Rocco had hits though.
I know, that's what I'm saying. But once Future bought himself out of that deal, Rocco said, no need for me to rap.
Rocco wanted to be the Birdman of Atlanta. Because like Birdman will rap, right? But it's almost like he wanted to be the Birdman of Atlanta.
But Rocco could actually rap though.
No, I mean, Birdman got some shit that where I know the lyrics, like, niggas will go crazy over. Like, I'll never forget, of course, the most memorable line being "Number One Stunner," right? Like,
and he
but yes, he's no rapper.
No, and he snapped on Born Stunner. I'm sure he didn't write it.
I know. I used to think that song was so garbage. What was another one that I liked that Birdman's on? He's on a bird.
Oh, he had that great lead in on "We Taking Over" to Lil Wayne. Oh
yeah. Ultimate setup, man. On that, clear cut alley. Get Lost by Gucci Man with Birdman. I like Birdman's verse on "Get Lost" with Gucci.
Dang, you don't like Born Stunner?
I used to hate that song.
Money bags.
Yeah, this is during that era where they would Cash Money and Ross. They would do these videos. I guess Cortez Bryant was who was doing them. You know what I'm talking about. You know what type of video I'm talking about. They were like clearly low budget as fuck. Like they looked low budget. I tell you what, you know the song Veterans Day?
Yes.
Okay, that's a song where Birdman's got a decent verse too. Because it's him and Wayne and Rick Ross. That's one where honestly he had an acceptable verse.
Bro, let's not open the show with Birdman verses. Let's get back to football.
Point being, cut off the finger to save the hand, like Rocco said, and Jimmy Lake was the finger.
Yeah, and we brought in Wink Martindale. Lou Amaruno is being rumored to also be a person of interest. And
they just put up that they interviewed Jeff Ulbrich, no surprise. And they interviewed Steve Wilkes as well.
Hey, I'm okay with that. So I like the names that we're bringing in. And the biggest thing that I hope is that there's synergy between the DC and the HC, because he's a defensive guy, and the last thing we want is him to come in and step on the defensive coordinator because there's a lack of chemistry, and now you don't have the two sets of eyes on the problem. You have two separate sets of eyes, but they're not necessarily working together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that what we want to do though is honestly, Ulbrich is not who I want. Like he's the last person saying this. I don't want anyone that's his buddy. I want the best man for the job. And to me, that's either going to be Wilkes. I don't think I'd be mad at Wilkes because it's like I know that he's coming in and like, man, we're about to turn this shit around. Like,
yeah.
And look, he's been doing it long enough, but like, man, when you really think about it, some of these guys, this is how they feed their families, right?
Yeah.
So I've got to get the most out of this group. I have to identify who's going to work best in my scheme, who we should sign, whether that's a low budget signing, trading for, or who we're going to draft. What's going to be like when he's healthy next year. Hopefully, like what's that going to look like? He's a third-round pick. We don't know. If it's anything like Terry's other second, third, and fourth-round picks, we're fucked. Like, we're in deep shit. It's not going to work.
Hey, Terry's not – he's not good at the draft.
He's not good at – he nailed 3 of our 4 first-round picks that he's had. He's nailed those, but that's it. I can't –
high, too.
I can't – he's gotten some decent value signings in free agency.
Did he get Landon?
I'm not mad at him for instance, like Justin Simmons and Judon for this offseason. Not mad at all. Same thing with Kirk Cousins. I'm not mad that they didn't pan out. I saw the vision.
Yeah.
Now, whether he vetted the process while doing it, that I don't know. That's the real question. Did he vet the process while doing it? Clearly, Kirk Cousins wasn't fucking healthy. Justin Simmons sat until literally a week before the season started, basically not signed, and that felt like maybe that was for a reason. I don't know. Maybe he wanted too much money. I don't know. And then
he didn't want to go to training camp.
Maybe. And then Judon, he made it clear he wasn't staying in New England. But I'm glad that Terry decided not to give him all that money, because a lot of people were like, "Oh, y'all aren't going to sign him before the season." And it's just like, nah. And then even Judon said, "Nah, I want to prove it." Like, he didn't prove shit. Like, you know what I mean? Judon will be lucky to get $15 million from somebody a year.
Hey, man,
he'll be lucky. He looks like a Dante, like how when we signed Dante Fowler.
Yeah,
that's what he's looking like. He's looking like a Dante Fowler type guy.
He might have to go somewhere on a 1-year prove-it deal to get another deal.
Yeah, and even by then he'll be 32, 33. So he'll. I mean, he might be 30. Like, he might be older than that, but.
Time to become a run-stopping DN.
Yeah.
You're no longer a pass rusher. You're just a solid player.
Nigga's a 3-4 DN. Like, he's not a part of the 4. He's on the 3. Hey, they're telling that nigga, "Hey, man, eat your peanut butter sandwich. We need you to bulk up." Like,
hey, buddy, you're playing in a 3 technique this year, son.
Like, I'll give you some, like, and we've had these type of things happen before. Like, I think when we got Dontez Poe from the Chiefs, we all loved it. Like, we were like, "Oh man, this is fucking perfect." Like, he was a Pro Bowler with the Chiefs. The Chiefs were winning. The Chiefs were always an 11-win team at the time. This was pre-Patrick Mahomes. It was a great signing at the time, and he was a part of that defense in 2017. Like, that's who we went out and got after the Super Bowl. Great pickup for a team that just went with one of the top offenses. Yeah. You know, I just hope that we have to get the defensive coordinator hiring correct. We have to.
Yeah, we do. That's the first.
I feel like Terry's job is gone, and Ra will be counting his days if it's not correct. Because you know this, like I know this. Once guys start getting rid of staff, then they become the next victim. So,
yeah. Hey, look here. You know how sometimes with, like, if you have diabetes, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna try these different things out for your eyes. You know, you're going blind. We're gonna remove the cataracts. You know, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. But I need you to make these changes." But the person has already gotten to that point, so you know they're not going to make the changes. So you go through trying to help them out every way that they can. That's just what's happening here. Like, you fire everybody. Hey, dog, you didn't change your diet. You know, you didn't do right. You didn't get active. Your diabetes got you. You're blind now. Terry.
It's a reality you have to live in when you start ignoring things, and maybe it's rightfully so that you're blind because you were ignoring stuff anyway. So now you can't even see it. I'm not wish that on anybody, but I'm just saying, speaking in general terms, if you were ignoring it anyways, it sounds like you deserve to be blind. Maybe you were already blind. Now you just physically are in the sense.
But speaking of blind, the Cowboys players were blindsided apparently by the non-retention of their head coach, Mike McCarthy. We all knew that he was a lame duck coach going into the season, and he had to prove it. But everything coming out of Dallas made it seem like Jerry was confident, and Mike McCarthy, not that I believed it, but everything coming out said, hey, we're going to get a deal done at the end of the year. It's no big deal. And then when Chicago sends the interview request, they deny it. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, they're going to work this out. And then we find out on Monday, right before Monday night, not before, Monday afternoon, while we got the sports talk shows going. Stephen A's off already. He's already off. But we got the sports shows going. Jerry and Mike McCarthy can't agree to terms. Parlay Pete, what are your thoughts on that?
The thing is that it was literally, and you hate to use this term, it was like a roller coaster season, right? Like,
yeah.
It went from him coming in knowing there was pressure to getting off to a so-so start to, oh shit, Dak's hurt, to damn, it's a lost season, to, oh man, they're still playing. Like, you know what I mean? Like they found their form a little bit here towards the end of the year. Got an impressive win over the Bucks. Got
beat by
a nice win over the Commanders. Remember that wild game? Got a nice win over them on the road. Like, okay, like he's kind of cooking with grease. Like the defense is getting a little bit healthier. Like at the end of the day, there is no Dak. Like he's kind of holding this thing together. Jerry's talking good in the media. And then, like you said, you get to this point where Jerry makes the comment of, no, we're not allowing him to interview with somebody else. And it sounds like it's going to go that way. And then it doesn't. So all in all, like, I think that it'll be interesting to see what Jerry does, because I think the Cowboys have to figure out what direction they want to go in as a franchise, because that's, to me, what type of hiring this is. This is a franchise shifting hire. And I don't say that because of the speculation of Deion Sanders, right? Which that is a franchise shifting hire if they were to get Prime. If they were to take him from Colorado, because I'm sure that means that they'd have to pay Colorado, and then Jerry, Prime not going to Dallas without no guarantee. He signed a 5-year deal. It's guaranteed all 5 years.
Yeah, and it's
things are going to be to an extent his way.
And it's going to be middle of the road NFL head coach money. It's not going to be first time NFL head coach money.
Correct. Exactly. He's not somebody that has to take this job. No. If they go a different route, let's say it's Kellen Moore, I expect it to be more of the same. If it's Kellen Moore, for instance, like I expect
Kellen Moore has Kellen Moore and Jalen Brunson have the same facial expression.
They do. It's funny you say it like that. But if you hire him, you have to almost speculate it's going to be some of the same. And obviously, Jerry holds him in like high esteem and regard, right? Because when they hired Mike McCarthy, he said, "Oh, Boy Wonder stays." He made sure that he was Mike McCarthy's OC. Then it didn't work out. He goes to the Chargers. That was a 1-year deal. Then Philly picks him up. He kind of picks up steam again, but that was an offense that was already pretty good for what it's worth, or certainly has a lot of weapons to make somebody look even better. And now he might have that opportunity to come back. But it would just, to me, it would be more of a Jason Garrett thing. Former Cowboy backup quarterback gets a head coaching job. Like, it's the same thing. So
and a coach made by the Cowboys.
Correct. Right. This is his grassroots are Dallas. Now, Sean Payton was obviously who Jerry, to me, has always wanted, which is why a lot of people didn't understand how maybe even 2 years ago you might not get rid, because Sean Payton, that's always been the long rumored one, right? Like Sean Payton is who Jerry wants. He's a Parcells guy. He's also a guy that came up through the Cowboys. He is a Super Bowl champion. Like, there's a lot of things. I don't expect Jerry to go out and get a proven coach, because, especially to me, my theory was always Mike Tomlin, maybe. If the Steelers were willing to trade him, I felt like Dallas would be willing to trade for him. But
I don't think Mike Tomlin wants to go to Dallas.
I don't think Mike Tomlin wants to go anywhere based on his comments, period.
I think Coach T likes it where he's at, and I don't think he wants to deal with a loudmouth owner, because Mike Tomlin, and this is probably why Julian Turner blames him for everything, Mike Tomlin is the voice of the Steelers.
He is
we don't know how much of his fate is controlled by others. before they get on that football field, because I don't think he has the personnel control that some people say he does. But no matter what, he is the voice of the Steelers. When you think of Steelers today, you think of Mike Tomlin. When you think of the message of what the Steelers are, it's all reflective of Mike Tomlin, for better or for worse.
Yeah, and
are we talking Tomlin now?
You said who?
Are we going to talk Tomlin now? Or are we going to stay on McCarthy?
Well, it all kind of goes into the conversation we had in the group earlier in general, which is kind of what I wanted to get to, because you start comparing all three of these guys. Well, I kind of was the one that threw Harbaugh in, but it's only because when they put them,
I'm glad
you did. They're all the same. They are all the same.
And Sean Payton too. He's in that same boat. They're all like winning percentages, all of that stuff. They're all there together.
5 to 7 division titles.
Now, McVay's on their heels already.
Because McVay's been to 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah, he's on their heels already.
I've been to 2, but Peyton's only been to 1. McCarthy's only been to 1. But Harbaugh's only been to 1. But
that is the tier 2 of NFL coaching, right? It was just Andy Reid, Bill Belichick by themselves. Well, Bill above Andy, Bill, then Andy, then them.
Yeah, but some people, if you go by and I hate the word potential is such a cliche. Potential, people put in a weird way hold Shanahan kind of in that regard too. Like,
but I was gonna get to that. Kyle doesn't belong there.
I think that a year like
Kyle. No. My thing is, Kyle, he can be on tier 3 when you're talking about Jim Harbaugh as an NFL coach, right? And I do think Jim Harbaugh is a better coach than he's a tier 2 coach, but he hasn't proven it because he hasn't been in NFL long enough. Okay. But like he should be compared to Jim Harbaugh, Kevin O'Connell, Matt LaFleur, right?
Well, you said everybody that's on his tree.
Yeah. That's who you compare him to. You don't compare Kyle Shanahan to the Mike Tomlins, the John Harbaughs, the Sean Paytons, the Mike McCarthys, because the one thing that these coaches have also done that Shanahan hasn't done besides winning a Super Bowl, they've maintained a high level of football for multiple years. And for some of them now, multiple stints, right? Because the Broncos, they're going to be a potential playoff team moving forward. Sean Payton has it rolling. I hate it. I root against it. But he got that thing going because he's a hell of a coach.
And he got his quarterback in a tight spot in a good year for quarterbacks. Yeah. But he got the last one technically. Of the batch, he got the last one.
And if you look at
– put it to work immediately with no cap.
No cap. And then, like, what John Harbaugh's done, we're on, like, offense 2.5 for Lamar in his, 7-year career? It was like the Flacco offense that he fell into to the
But Harbaugh got there the year they got Flacco.
No, but I'm saying like just in the Lamar pivot, right? Because when Lamar comes in rookie years, it takes over for Flacco. They're not running the offense that they're running year 2 MVP year. You know what I'm saying?
He made adjustments because that's when they hired Roman, right?
Greg Roman, yeah. Then they realized Lamar had outgrown the Greg Roman offense. Like he's like, oh no, he can pass way too good for this Jim Harbaugh type offense that doesn't really maximize good passers.
Yep.
So then we go to the Monken. And then we see year 1 of the Monken. It's an MVP year, but it's not even a great MVP year. Then we go get Henry. And then we see year 2 of the Monken. And that year 2 of the Monken looked like it was straight out of Athens.
Are we a little surprised that he's not getting interviews? I am. Aren't you a little surprised by that? That he's not getting – I mean, even Jacksonville or somebody God kicked the tires on him?
I think because of all of the love around the Shanahan shit, the McVay shit, that tree, that if you're not from that tree, but you're an offensive guy, you're not viewed the same way. And because Monken just came from college as an OC and not a head coach, I know it's total bullshit because that motherfucker can call offense.
Yeah, and you see the difference in Georgia since he's left Georgia too.
Yeah, you see Georgia. Lamar had his best passing season. 4,000 yards, 40 tubs, 4 picks. 3 of them shouldn't have been picks.
Third
Yeah,
highest, fourth highest passer rating in NFL history, only behind 2 Aaron Rodgers years and 1 Peyton Manning
year. And his running back had 1,900 yards.
To go with it, right? To go with this stuff, and maybe that helps with better numbers because they got to fucking stack the box. But he still had 900 yards rushing. I am just surprised that he's not getting any calls. Like I saw Bobby Slowick got an interview again.
For what?
Who wants Bobby Slowick's offense after what it looked like this year?
They watched it last week too.
And they put on an okay performance last week. What it is that was just an outmanned, overachieving Chargers team that they beat at home. That's how I look at it. That's why I picked the Texans last week on our picks because I said, well, not only are they at home, and nobody even takes this into account. Those guys live in LA too, right? Everybody kept talking about the Rams and having to pick up their home game to go. Those guys live in LA too. They might have been dealing with that. I have no idea. I'm sure that they were to a degree. They had to deal with that, and they had a day less to get prepared for it. There are a lot of things that set up for why I don't know why they were such a heavy favorite, and everybody was like by 3. Rex Ryan saying it's a bye week. Like, I don't understand it. That was a team that overachieved this year to begin with. That team got blown out by the Buccaneers not that long in December.
Yeah,
the Bucs hung 41 on them, and the Bucs aren't that. As we saw, the Bucs aren't that good either. Kirk Cousins looked like Kirk Cousins would be the hottest commodity out right now if we just base it off those Bucs games. People would be drooling to trade with the Falcons. We'd be getting a 1 for him.
Yeah,
somebody would give us a 1 for him,
and they would take on the whole salary.
He had this year, we'd get a 1. But people want Bobby Slowick over Todd Monken.
It's crazy. I mean, if we're being honest, Zach Robinson had a better year than Bobby Slowick. And he didn't have a good year.
Well, the Falcons produced a top 3 rusher, top 5 receiver. If Mooney plays the last game, you got 2,000-yard receivers. True. Kyle Pitts had more touchdowns this year than any year in his career. Your offensive line, you got an all-pro at guard. And really just a solid O-line. I'll say this much. That is something that the Falcons have fixed. I like our offensive line.
Hey, we're off them.
Yeah. Anyways, Todd Monken should have been getting interviews is my point. I don't understand why
he should have. You saw that McCarthy interviewed for Chicago. If Chicago messes up this coaching hire, everybody needs to go. I mean, from ownership down, they need to be banned from the league like they're Donald Sterling. Like, you have a quarterback, you have weapons, you have a good defense, you need to fix your O-line, and you have your pick of the litter of candidates. I mean, you probably weren't going to get Vrabel because he's going to fire Poles and that other nigga. Like, hey, y'all too? Y'all got to go. But you got Pete Carroll coming in. You've got Mike McCarthy, which I don't let Mike McCarthy leave the building. I think he's the most disrespected coach in the NFL. Either or. I prefer McCarthy over Pete because McCarthy can call plays.
That is a team that needs an established coach.
Yeah, they need Mike McCarthy.
They haven't had one in so long. Like, because even think about it. When you go to the Super Bowl with Lovey, I guess they had John Fox for a little.
Yeah.
I guess. But Nagy,
I mean,
that was Nagy's first job. They hired who's my man from the Canadian League? You know what I'm talking about. He was there with
him.
Jeffrey, Brandon Marshall, that talented Martellus Bennett, like that talented fucking Matt Forte. That was a talented offense, and they didn't get anything. That was
a fantasy dream.
That team rivaled, seriously, that team in a weird way almost rivaled the Steelers' offense with the triple Bs. Like low key. They were a lesser version of it, but they had more sums to the piece. Because if who would you say was the one? I guess Brandon Marshall kind of. I mean, Alshon.
Brandon Marshall was the Alshon just burst on the scene. It's like, bro, who is this nigga out here killing?
Yeah, hell, maybe they were kind of even like the Falcons during that time because we had obviously Matt, Julio, Roddy, Gonzo, and it didn't even matter who you had in running back. Whether that's Jaquez Rogers, Snelling, the combination. Obviously, Turner in his last years, but like. Then we got Steven Jackson. I mean, that's when it fell off. It really fell off once we got Steven Jackson. But like, same thing is all I'm saying. Talented ass offense. But my point is, with the Bears, if you look at their coaching hires, none of these people are established coaches. You need to go out and get an established coach. And that was what we were worried about. We said no more first-time coordinators. We hired Ra, who had been a coach. He just was a losing fucking head coach. And he had paid his dues because it had been a decade plus since he had coached again. Still don't know how you let the guy with the most Super Bowl rings walk out of the yacht and out of the building. But, well, I know why. We know why. But we knew that we needed – that was one of the things that we said. We said we have to get a guy that's coached in this league before.
Or why don't – when he walks out of the – when he gets off the yacht, why don't you just get on the helicopter to go to the jet to go straight to Ann Arbor and pull up?
Well, more importantly, the papers are sitting on the yacht. And – when he lets himself, or when you let him out, you tell him, hey, we got you a parting gift too. And then in that parting gift, it's the terms of the contract. And then the check is blank. And then he just winks at you and walks away. Like, why is that not the storybook ending for how the Falcons 2024 offseason worked? Like,
the check is blank.
Like, I don't know.
The check is blank. Arthur left a blank check.
Yeah.
You know what Rich did?
Oh.
Rich went and grabbed it and threw it in the ocean. And Bill's like, hold on. There's an offer here. There's no financial terms. I thought there was a check here. Are you fucking me?
Nah, you want to know what Rich did? You know how you could get in the mail like fake checks?
Uh-huh.
Like it'll be offers like you got pre-approved for something or whatever, but it'll be a check.
Uh-huh.
Rich got one of those, and he that's what he put in the package. And then he realized that, like, oh shit, there's no banking numbers even on here. and then he was like, goodbye. You know what I mean? Like he moved on. He's like, hell, I'm gonna get paid more money to fucking do TV this year.
I'm gonna talk to Peyton and McAfee.
Yeah. ESPN's gonna cut me a check.
Then he did the UPN show.
Not HBO anymore. Yeah, it's only UPN or CW, whatever. UPN.
Nigga channel.
Yeah.
Poor nigga channel.
I'm gonna be on there, and y'all can have that because I know I'm gonna get an offer. Nobody expected it to be UNC, but I'm gonna get an offer.
Did you watch the PJs?
I didn't. I mean, not. I know what it is. Obviously, Eddie Murphy. Yeah.
So you want a UPN? You want a UPN kid?
It was on Fox too, though.
Yeah, but I remember from UPN.
I was not. You could talk to somebody like a Katora. She knows. She watched Moesha, Girlfriends, and all that. I didn't watch it.
Oh yeah, no. That was. I watched it because my cousins did.
I didn't watch that shit.
You didn't watch what?
I didn't watch the Jamie Foxx show.
I did a little bit, but I picked it up later in life.
The Parkers, like I didn't watch any of that. You know what I watched on UPN? Fucking SmackDown. Okay, that's what I watched. I watched SmackDown. I was watching wrestling on UPN. All right.
Same here.
I wasn't watching One Tree Hill. I didn't watch Oath. Like, you know what I mean? I didn't watch that shit.
Oh, yeah, you're getting a little too far now. Like, I hope you're not.
On the channel.
Was you watching Dawson's Creek too, nigga?
Nah, I didn't watch that either. Hell,
Charmed?
I didn't watch anything on Spike TV except Raw and what was the other show? The Man versus, when the Pros and Joes. Like I watched like that. Like I'm a guy, goddammit. Like
I watched like the first episode of Stripperella on Spike, and then I was like,
Stripperella, underrated show for its time. As for anyone that was an adolescent at the time. Good show. Sad it got canceled. I know why it got canceled, but
a little risque.
Look, it was perfect for the time, and look, Monday Night Raw was risque. The fuck, like, think about
going from Raw to Stripperella is crazy.
Hey, think about who was watching Monday Night Raw. It's 10-year-olds to like, I mean, they're grown ass men, but 10 to 35, right? Like that's really kind of like, yeah.
You sitting there with your dad watching this, Stripperella comes on. It's like, your mom sleep already. Fucking.
There's another one of those shows like that on Comedy Central too. It wasn't Stripperella, but you remember it was like they'd have like it was like the super friend versions of like different characters. They'd have like the Betty Bopp character. They had the girl from Josie and the Pussycats. Like they weren't really them. They were just based on them. You know,
I vaguely remember it, but like my perv show from Comedy Central was the Man Show.
See, that's not a show I watched though.
Which is why, like, I was such a fan of Jimmy Kimmel until he became just far too raging of a lib and a Trump basher. And not because I'm a Trump supporter. It just got old. Like, every time you watch a show, he's making fun of Trump for, like, 8
Drawn
years.
Together, by the way, is the name of the cartoon I'm thinking of.
Vaguely remember it. But, yeah, I remember that.
Well, you can see that. But
Yeah, I see it. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I did actually watch that.
That show was risque as fuck too. It was just like Stripperella. This is what I'm saying. Like it was like they'd be like talking about giving head and like all this weird stuff. Yeah.
Niggas was freaks as kids.
Hey, they hypersexualized this society, which we will get to later with the culture hour. We were going so off the rails with the football, but yeah, Bill Belichick's UPN coaches McCarthy.
Let's get back on the let's get back on the rails, you know. Let's just talk playoffs now. Because there's nothing coaching that we don't want to talk about the Raiders coaching because we don't know anything. We don't want to talk about Aaron Glenn wanting to go to the Jets.
The Saints.
Yeah.
Hey, that's Stinky Peterson. That's who that is. That's Stinky Peterson. If Hey Arnold were the NFL, they'd be Stinky Peterson, bro. And you know who we are? We're Big Bob's Beepers here. We're selling a bullshit product.
Yo, I wish y'all could have heard our phone conversation last week because I called this nigga and I'm like, bro, who do you think had more money? Arnold's grandpa or Big Bob? He's like, hey, Arnold, nigga. He was like, Arnold's granddad, because who the fuck was buying beepers?
Yeah, well, you never saw anyone with the beeper. Arnold's granddad owned a whole building that had a bunch of people in it that were
in New York.
And he's housing people. He's collecting rent. Like Oscar's ass ain't paying it. His woman paying the rent and stuff. Like, so he's getting money from these people, and he not getting enough just to pay the bill, right? He got to get some income. Grandma they probably retired. Yeah. And his dad was military or something. I'm sure that
Arnold was military. I mean, his grandpa was military, so he's getting at least a VA disability check.
Yeah, he's getting his Social Security, all that stuff. So, yeah, Arnold, man, he was living good. The government, probably for him having a housing type situation, have no idea boarding home. So, he's probably getting some government funding. He's probably getting government funding for being Arnold's foster parent. That too. So yeah, Arnold was getting the life insurance. Nigga, Bob's wife was an alcoholic and a pill popper. Helga was fucking depressed and a psychopath that liked a nigga that she acted like she hated. Like she took out her aggression that she got at home. Her sister was faking it until she could make it. Like that's what was going on at Bob's house. Meanwhile, he's the king of beepers and ain't nobody fucking using beepers. Meanwhile, Arnold got the finest room in TV history. Yeah, like yo, bro, at 33, if I had that room and you bring something over, you pop the bed and shit out. Yeah. You go up top on the roof. It's cheeks, nigga. Yeah. When everybody wanted to hang out, niggas were going to Arnold's house. Nigga, they were hanging out outside Arnold's. Outside the board house. Let's go over to the Pataki household. No. I think the football field that they had was right next to their house too. That space. Yeah. Whatever. Gerald Field. Yeah, Gerald Field. Yeah. Yo, Hey, the nigga was cool with him, so you knew that he was the white boy, the cool white boy, like that. The household, the whole thing. They're like, oh yeah, that's the nigga. Everybody want to get close to the money. Now I know Rhonda, her parents were. She was the one that was paid.
Yeah,
she was getting picked up by limousine. She had a cell phone and shit. Like, yeah.
So
grandpa, that's a different story. But Big Bob, nigga, Bob, like.
That's why I didn't even bring Rhonda up, because Rhonda had a different bag. Like, you know,
he was like a bitch that got sent to fucking public school, nigga, for being bad, because she was really in private school this whole time. Like
nah, she's a degenerate.
Yeah.
He's like that ass in public school. She fucking up the Lloyd good name.
Well, but this is what I'm saying. That's right. that shit was punishment, nigga. They were like, well, we're not gonna send you to boarding school because that shit gonna be too far. We're gonna send you to the school right down the street, nigga. Like.
They can't afford
hey, you're going to PS, nigga. Public school 18.
Yo,
public school 18, nigga. That's where you're going. Like,
hey Pete, they ain't got coke there. They got crack.
Right. We'll see if your ass really going to tweak out. And then once they you remember they had that episode where she didn't have money and she started putting together like an umbrella, a fucking like shower curtain and shit, trying to create new fashion, make that shit hip, and everybody's like fucking with it. And then as soon as that shit, once her dad came out, we're rich again. She's like, oh, these fucking losers, and like through that, she's like, humble yourself, young lady. Like,
yo, is Gerald the most niggerish nigga on like kid TV?
Nah, you know some niggas on the Proud Family that were niggas.
That's different. That's different because that's a nigga show.
Do you want to compare it to? You're saying like even like Odd Parents? You had AJ, right? He was the black kid there.
Oh, he was a dweeb.
Susie was the black on the Rugrats. I'm just trying to think of all the black characters. Skeeter was clearly fucking.
Yeah, he was Piccolo.
Yeah, but he was black.
Yeah, he was a nigga. Beatboxing. I mean, but Gerald was like an old nigga who told every classic story. Nigga sang bass.
His roots, you could tell his roots were Southern or some shit.
Yeah.
He rocked a jersey. Really a Scottie Pippen jersey, nigga. Like that's what that shit was.
His pops went to Columbia on minority scholarship and just stayed up there.
All right. So he went to go get the milk.
But he came back.
Gerald's dad, though, yeah, he had and his brother was this popular ass high school jock ass nigga.
You know, dumb jocks that Whitlock talks.
He was too worried about the hoes. That's why he was doing that souffle shit. You remember there's an episode where he was like bending over backwards for a bitch and saw where it got him. It got him getting cheated on, the whole nine. I mean, his whole life was fucked.
Hey, fellas, don't bend over backwards for her.
Yeah, nigga was
walk over you.
Hey, this nigga in high school was getting her shit dry cleaned and picking it up in the whole nine. Yeah, cooking her souffles. Like,
nigga, you bend her back over, nigga.
Yeah,
what's wrong with you, little boy?
Hey, he wasn't even getting the ass. He was just hugging her. Like, you know what I mean, she went. Hey, you
gonna let me get my hug today?
Yeah.
Yeah, nigga.
that nigga was Nick Cannon in Love Don't Cost a Thing. That shit was a look for him. Nigga, he liked the look more than the actual thing. Like,
hey, the funny thing about Love Don't Cost a Thing, right? Then he actually turned into the real Nick Cannon.
Yeah.
Like, nah, for real, I'm him though.
Right. Well, basically,
basically,
I'm not even the coolest nigga. But the bitches just love this shit. They love this. They like this authenticity. Even though he's kind of faking it, obviously, but like they like the authenticity. This is what I would do if I had superpowers, ass niggas. like it ain't that I'm not this way. I just don't have the superpowers. Now you done gave me some superpowers, so I'm gonna act this way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back to NFL playoffs. What was first game of the day was Houston, obviously.
I would fart on the phone to talk about that game. That game sucked. Actually, a lot of the playoff games sucked, but that one was, to me, probably the worst. That or the Packers one.
It was a bad week of football, both pro and college, honestly.
We got one good game.
Yeah.
The Commanders game.
Yeah.
Every other game sucked. The Ravens did what I thought they'd do. The Texans did what I thought they'd do. I didn't think the Bills were going to thump the Browns the way that they did, but I didn't expect a ton of points to get scored.
Hold on, we're going to recap each game. Let's get back to the first game. So Houston, the score doesn't matter.
Game sucked.
This nigga Justin Herbert threw more picks in that game than he had thrown all season.
Yeah, how do you do that?
But yet he's an elite quarterback. I know. And all his apologists came out. He's young. It's the second playoff game. They were overmatched. Blow me. I don't want to hear it.
I saw Jim Harbaugh take Colin Kaepernick, and he went for a fucking field day against the Packers in his first playoff game. He looked unbelievable.
I saw Doug Peterson take Trevor Lawrence, who threw 3 first-half picks, beat Justin Herbert in the playoff game.
Oh, by the way, they were down 28.
Something crazy. He is who I thought he was.
Yeah. So miss me with that. That team just was under-talented. They really weren't that talented to begin with. J.K. Dobbins was a running back running with no hamstrings. Like, you know what I mean? The guy's had a hamstring injury every year of his career. This was the first year that he stayed relatively healthy. He wasn't an elite running back before his injuries. He was just a running back. And then they got his backup, who also used to get hurt from the same team. You know what I mean? It's almost like his brother was trying to sabotage him or something. But, you know, you had that. And then you had Ladd McConkey, the bright spot, baller. But we all know
if he doesn't get that one big play, Justin Herbert looked even worse than he did.
Well, but even without that 86-yard play, he still had 100 yards without it. So
I'm talking about.
No, I know, but I'm saying that's just how dog McConkey was. Like, McConkey came to play, but that was it. Will Dissly, no show. The defense let down in key moments. Mixon, they held him in check in the first half, and then Mixon had a field day in the second half. Like, not a good showing by the Chargers. But again, like I said last week during the picks, and when we previewed this stuff, I thought that this was a team that overachieved this year. The Texans are a team that made the playoffs last year, got off to a hot start, slowed down, had a bunch of injuries. They have the formula to beat a team like this. They have an all-pro cornerback, and they have 2 defensive ends that are capable of getting 10-plus sacks. Sounds like a recipe to win a game against a team that's under-talented, unlike who they have to play this week. That's not an under-talented team that they have to play this week. So that game to me was very I didn't expect it to be like that, but like I'm not surprised at all that the Texans won the game.
You want to get Mr. Turner on the line for this next one?
Did you text him earlier?
No, I prefer calling him without the. Yeah, because he might be doing some Julian Turner shit, and that's always funny too.
He's in Colorado.
What does that mean?
He's there for like work though.
I know that, but that means nothing. He's Julian Turner.
All right.
He's one of those guys. If you're going to a random, hey, you busy?
No, what's up, brother?
Hey, you're on the pod. We're getting to recap the Ravens Steelers game, and then we're going to go into a Mike Tomlin conversation. And we felt like you should lead it off.
Yeah, you're definitely the person that we want to have here, Mr. Turner. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well. Just got out of the class in Colorado. It's fucking 6:30 here, so I'm a little perplexed and disturbed about me being released from class at this time. But you know what?
That's wild.
I got paid.
Fair enough.
There you go. And that's what this is all about. Quick question: is it still snowing?
No, it stopped snowing, but it's cold as fuck here. It's like 16 degrees.
Are the bunnies
on Monday? I wouldn't know. No bunnies never, cleans forever. Black cleans forever. So
all right, all right. But yeah,
what you guys got?
Well, we were getting ready to preview this Steelers game, and obviously you are our Steelers insider as far as I'm concerned. So tell us, just in general, before you get into the whole Mike Tomlin aspect of things, tell us about the performance of the team, period.
totality of the season, or you want the game?
The game. I feel like it's all one microcosm. It's all the same.
It was embarrassing. It was disgraceful. It wasn't that we lost. It was the manner in which we lost, and I think it's telling, and it's been telling for not only a couple of games, but for seasons now, which it really alludes to that we have not only roster issues that that everyone knows about, but we have an identity crisis, and we have a culture problem in Pittsburgh, and it needs to be addressed, or else we're going to continue to see similar results.
Okay, so what direction do you think the franchise should go to see different results?
Well, is this more of a coaching or just all together? What do I think that could fix the Steelers?
It's you as a Steelers insider. You tell us how. If you were GM, how would you go in there and fix that franchise?
Well, first things first, Mike Tomlin's got to go. And it's not the fact that Mike Tomlin's a bad coach. It's just after 18 years, it's going to be the 19th year on the job. I think his voice no longer resonates in the Steelers locker room. And I think the fans are no longer quailed and suppressed by his rhetoric. In the beginning, he had nice speeches, and people really like that. But now it's getting old and it's falling on deaf ears. I think that from a roster standpoint, we have the most expensive defense in the league as it stands. And when you're getting paid that much or taking up that much of the team's salary cap, you just can't allow a team to rush over 200 yards and you the most rushing yards in any game in the last, I don't even know how many years. So we definitely need to look at making some key changes on defense. Even if that includes trading away TJ Watt, which I know is very controversial, but you gotta start trading on some players like this when their value is high in order to get something back from them. And not for nothing, he also didn't get a single tackle in that game. And I don't think that's all his fault. That goes to scheming as well too. On the offensive side of the ball, yes, we do need another quarterback. And whoever we get to, we need to commit to him. Whether it's Russell Wilson, because honestly, I don't think Russell Wilson had a bad year. Yes, he's an Asian quarterback. Yes, he's not that mobile. But we've also seen teams go out and fix their offensive line within 1 year. They make the necessary adjustment. So whoever our quarterback is, whether he's old, young, whether he's Justin Fields, whether we make a push to try to go get somebody, figure out who it is.
Sam Darnold?
I'm not opposed to Sam Darnold, but that's not really going to fix our problem, right? And then there's different approaches to it, and I'll get to that in a second. Also, it's time for us to make some real key changes at the coordinator standpoint as well too. Me personally, I don't think that hiring Arthur Smith was one thing, guys. Doing pretty good.
Guys, here's what we're doing. We're going to run the piss out of football. Hey, I got you. We're getting ready to run the piss out of football.
Yeah, I personally don't think hiring Arthur Smith was a good hire, in my opinion. Not because I dislike the guy. It's because I think his success was tied to Derrick Henry. I think that's why he got the job he did in Atlanta, because of his success there. Because once he did have a stud at running back, it made him look good. But we saw what he did with Bijan Robinson. Arguably, could be a top 10 running back if he was just fed him the ball and allowed him to do his job. And I think his schemes don't truly maximize everyone's talent. And then to our offensive coordinator, Terrell Austin. I mean, I think that we really muffed on letting Brian Flores out the door. I mean, we had a guy who is shown who's a competent head coach and also a defensive-minded coach who had results. And the only reason he wasn't coaching anymore in Miami is because of the scandal. We let him go, and Pittsburgh fans has a theory about that. And the theory is that they didn't want, Mike Tomlin personally didn't want to have someone of his caliber behind him, because let's say if we have conversations like this and it does get hot, the first thing we would say is, well, we can just not turn to Brian Flores. And also that would take away, I guess, kind of the credit, if you will, to Mike Tomlin, because he's supposed to be the defensive-minded guy. The defense is supposed to be his baby, so there's a lot of thoughts on that. And then just from a whole organizational standpoint, like, the Rooneys are, one of the oldest ownership groups in the NFL, and they pride themselves on, values and respect and doing things the right way. However, there's a quote from The Wire: "The thing about the old days, those are the old days. They need to get with the times." The notion that you can just win playing conservatively with a defense, that has the NFL has evolved and changed, and it's passing the Steelers by. So the Rooneys need to also look at that and saying, hey, we can no longer just wait and rely on the draft to get players. We have to go out and pay to play. This is a pay now, win now league, and we're still trying to develop players, which Mike Tomlin has shown he has no ability to develop any player. We can talk about that as well too if you disagree. But we need when we have guys available, we need to go out there and get those guys and pay the money to make ourselves available. And also I love the fact that we're loyal to our coaches, but listen, that shit's dead. Okay? If a guy is not performing, get him out of there. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, we had intentions for you to be here for a long time. However, it's not working out. So yeah, that's just my, we need to make some changes roster wise. Again, I think having an elite quarterback is important, but when you're constantly winning at least 10 games every season and you can't win the 11th, I don't want to hear about our quarterback isn't good enough. He was good enough to beat Baltimore the first time. He was good enough to win the other game. So I don't want to hear about it when your job is on the line that, the quarterback can't get it done. So yeah, so that's, that's really about it. We need to make changes from the top to the bottom. Clearly ownership's not going anywhere. So we're not talking about ownership, but from the, not even necessarily the GM, but from our head coaches to our positional coaches to our coordinators and down taking a fine tooth and comb at our roster and really just making some changes that are necessary.
So it sounds like to me you'd be comfortable winning 5 games next year if the franchise went in a different direction, but you saw some type of promise from that.
Yeah, well, I would say so. The thing about being a Steelers fan that is unique to a franchise like ours is that winning regular season games means nothing. So whether we won 10, 12, 11 games or won no games, it's the same. It's the same. We count playoff victories because ultimately, if you win in the playoff games, that's how you win Lombardis. We don't count regular season accolades. Those are personal stats for one particular person, which is Mike Tomlin. That I don't hear any Steelers player saying, "Oh, I was part of that no season in 2012." That's nothing for them to talk about.
Right.
That's a Mike Tomlin personal stat.
Put it back in your pants,
I feel like you think that this is something that now has become the new Steelers way, which is why you want to get it out of there, because that is now becoming kind of the running thing with the Steelers. Man, they had a winning season, and it stopped being about Lombardi's. Would you say that's somewhat true to why you want to essentially strip this thing of all its nuts and bolts, get as much value for the good players, and start that rebuilding process?
Well, actually, to your point, Mike Tomlin has isms, and one of them is the standard is the standard. So at what point do we have to recognize that this is his new standard? And I don't think his standard aligns with what we have been taught the Steelers standard is. And that is why, again, if you go to, Pittsburgh and go to more of the local media, not the mass media, you'll hear and see that there is a distaste for Mike Tomlin. It's been brewing for years. And it's just now coming out. But yes, I think at some point, if we want to do something we've never done before or haven't done in a while, which is be successful, we we have to look at, letting some of these players go. I personally don't want to see TJ walk out the door or a Minka or some of these other guys. But at the end of the day, and I know it's crazy to say, TJ Watt has never won a playoff game. And I don't blame him for that. I don't blame TJ Watt.
That's actually a super duper crazy stat, considering he's not only one of the 5, some would maybe even argue 3 best defensive players of a generation.
He's a Hall of Famer, and he's a Steeler.
Yeah, he could
never won a playoff
retire
game.
today, and he would
great.
be a Hall of Famer. I mean, it's him, Myles Garrett, and then Aaron Donald just retired, but that's all the same. Those have been the 3 best defensive players in the NFL the last decade, essentially.
You know what, Julian Turner, you sold me there. Because I've always said if y'all fire him, I get it, but I don't know if that's the right answer. But TJ Watt should be a great Steeler. But without a playoff win, he can't be a great Steeler.
Without a playoff win, it's a disgrace to his career. We're literally talking about wasting talent now. We're wasting talent.
Like Minka had a great Steelers career, and even though he wasn't drafted there, he can't be a great Steeler. Like these guys who haven't won playoff games, when they get around the OG vet Steelers, even if they had better careers, even if they got gold jackets at the Ring of Honor, James Harrison is like, well, nigga, I got a Super Bowl touchdown.
You can't set up. First off, I got a Super Bowl touchdown. You don't even have a playoff victory. You can't sit at my table. You can't sit here.
Nigga,
and
I got the franchise record for sacks. So
this nigga Jew is acting like JJ Watt is Forrest Gump getting on that bus that first day, and James Harrison's the white boy is like, you can't sit here.
I mean, in fact, sad to say, it's just really the truth. I mean, and that's a crazy stat to bring up. But again, a lot of this falls on Mike Tomlin, and this is what I'm about to do. If you guys will let me just get a good, maybe 2 minutes after why Mike Tomlin needs to go.
The floor is yours.
And it's quite simple. It's quite simple. Look at his production. Yes, we get it. Let's get this out the way. Never had a losing season. Hall of Fame head coach. I say he's good, not great, but that's for debate. At the end of the day, I can't name one coach that has ever been spoken highly of who survived losing 8, who has not won a playoff game in 8 consecutive years.
You know why though, right? Because those guys also don't win regular season games, so they don't get the chance to.
And those guys, what happens is they get fired. Now, it's not the fact that we're in a losing spell. That's part of it, but how you lose matters. That we are 73-0 in the first quarter of all playoff games. That's damning. Be damned if we have an explosive offense or not, because truth be told, the Steelers have never been known for their offense. The most we've ever been known for our offense was the years when we had the killer bees, which he's never won a playoff game with them either. And I'll let that sit in too.
No, we didn't win a playoff game, but they didn't win it. They didn't win a significant one. Like they didn't get to the Super Bowl, but.
When we had the 3 killer bees, we didn't win the playoff game. We did not.
Y'all the 2 seed. Were y'all the 2 seed that year?
They won the year. The year we went to the Super Bowl, y'all were in the AFC Championship game against the Patriots. But so y'all had to play a game
when we had AD, Le'Veon Bell, Ben Roethlisberger, and Boswell,
16.
we did not win the playoff game. The last in 2016, I believe that was was that 2016 or 2017? We haven't won a playoff game since. Now I was there for that home game against the Jags when Blake Bortles beat us.
That was 17. Yeah, no. I know you were there because I was in Philly for the Falcons game, and we were talking about it that day.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you an interesting stat here, and this comes from @JBailey NFL. Since Mike Tomlin's last playoff win, Dan Quinn took the Falcons to the Super Bowl, was fired by the Falcons, spent 3 years as the Cowboys defensive coordinator, got hired by the Commanders, took the Commanders to the playoffs, and won a playoff game. All of that has happened since Mike Tomlin's last playoff win.
Since Mike Tomlin's last victory in the playoffs, 29 other teams have won a playoff game since. 29.
That's damning.
We're talking about the entire league winning a playoff game. Bro. Since the last time since you've won one.
I lived in like.
I know who the two teams are that haven't won the playoff game since. All right, I guess it would be 3. Those 3 teams would be.
Miami.
It would be the Dolphins, the Jets, and the Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the 3 teams.
I'm out here in Miami.
And more importantly, and nobody wants to talk about this, but this is also damning and really shows that Mike Tomlin is not who we think he is. What is his coaching tree? Name one assistant, one OC, one defensive coordinator that was part of Mike Tomlin's tree that has ever gone anywhere and gotten a prominent job. When Brian Flores was there, Brian Flores wasn't even our defensive coordinator. He was a positional coach. He was the assistant defensive coordinator and our linebackers coach.
You guys had Dick LeBeau for a long time, which at least from a defensive standpoint, I know that he had been there because I feel like he's a holdover even from Howard.
Dick LeBeau preceded Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin has not one coach from his staff in his entire 18 years as this great coach, as this above 500 coach, as this whatever you guys want to label him. Not one coach from his staff has gone anywhere to become a coordinator or a head coach. You name me one coach that we respect that we say is great like he is.
So
Todd Haley coached in the XFL.
Yeah, I don't even know if I have that channel.
No, look. So yeah, he would kind of, I guess, maybe be the person, but obviously, we know how that kind of ended for him. But point being, I typed that in on Google, and literally, that's the first thing that pops up on Reddit. Anyone realize Tomlin has no coaching tree? And the top comment under there says he's going to pull a Dungy and retire the moment he thinks his legacy is in jeopardy.
I'm not gonna lie to you. That Dungy shit I sent you yesterday, Parlay Pete, that scares me.
I mean, but guys, that's a damning stat. I mean, that is very damning and telling to who Mike Tomlin is truly not. I mean, since then, we've seen young coaches like Sean McVay come in the league and win games. Hell, young coordinators like Kellen Moore.
Like, look, Dan Quinn for the Falcons, there are 4 coaches that were on that staff when we went to the Super Bowl that are all currently head coaches. There are 4 of them.
So you mean to tell me Dan Quinn?
Dan Quinn has Kyle Shanahan, Mike McDaniels, LaFleur,
and Raheem.
And Raheem, and he also has Sark in college.
So again, you mean to tell me that Dan Quinn, and no disrespect to Dan Quinn, but Dan Quinn has a coaching tree before Mike Tomlin?
Yeah. That is crazy. Look, I never even thought about it that way, Jude. And I'm of everybody in the locker room, I have been supportive in regards to I think that they should move on. I don't think that Tomlin's a bad coach. His message is
I think Tomlin's a bad coach.
Well, Josh Holsey doesn't want to fire him.
Yeah, the standard is the standard.
Josh Holsey doesn't know too much of football. So
Fox Sports.
It's hard to know football when you don't watch it.
Well, Josh Holsey is a random Philly fan, never been there, never lived there, none of the family's from there. He just got a jersey.
He's a Wizards basketball fan.
Yeah, he's a Zard fan. But again, guys, it's Mike Tomlin has been given every opportunity to show that one, it's his team and not Bill Cowher's team, which a lot of people believe that was his team that he inherited. He's been given the reins to show what he can do, and unfortunately, it hasn't been much. And again, I think it's very important to note, like, hey, we in the AFC North, in a division that was once all about defense, it's now an offensive juggernaut. You got Lamar Jackson, you got Joe Burrow. I know Cleveland can't figure it out. Deshaun Watson. I mean, but Cleveland can't figure it out. But hey, even Cleveland said, "Fuck it, we're going to at least go and swing at what was a top 10 quarterback at the time. He has legal issues, but we're going to at least go swing, but you're probably going to get him."
And went to the playoffs with Flacco last year.
Well, plus a famous Steelers wide receiver said the Browns is the Browns. So, the Browns is the Browns.
Not too much on the Browns now.
And again, guys, when Mike Tomlin was given the opportunity to go, first off, and I've said this before, and you guys can tell me if I'm wrong, name me one player that Mike Tomlin has developed. You know who Mike Tomlin was supposed to develop? Kenny Pickett. Because Kenny Pickett was Mike Tomlin. Good. It's besides the point. Because a lot of QBs in their first year aren't good.
He didn't have a
It's about what you put around them. It's about no. Hey, they get. Oh, wait! You can't tell me Kenny Pickett wasn't good. Didn't he have a non-losing season? So he was good enough, wasn't he? He was good. He was good enough. He was good enough to get down to make it to the playoffs, wasn't he?
I don't put any of that on Ken show.
Hey. What I'm saying is this: when Mike Tomlin had the opportunity, his first opportunity to be all in on a guy and to go get a guy, Mike Tomlin chose to go get Kenny Pickett. Now, whether or not Kenny Pickett chose to pan out or not, that's besides the point.
Best quarterback in that draft, by the way.
That was his opportunity to show that he was capable of developing a player.
Willis actually is the best.
And what happened?
Yeah.
Well, what about Antonio Brown?
So listen, say what you want about. Well, listen, Antonio Brown is part of a reoccurring problem, but I put AD outside of that list. It's widely known that Pittsburgh has forever had head cases at the wide receiver position.
Well, right, you got a YN now.
And you got George Pickens now.
He plays in the shiesty mask.
He has Asperger's. I'm trying to keep on the spectrum. Okay. I say this all the time.
Chase Claypool clearly had issues too.
Chase Claypool, Deontay Jackson, Martavius Bryant, Juju, Chase Claypool.
TikTok.
I mean, but what I'm saying is that though, for whatever reason, Mike Tomlin believes that he can unlock something in these guys. And to try to, because my comment is like, some people stay away from coaching, not me. I love the opportunity to coach.
That's why he gets paid the big bucks, right?
Yes, but so Mike Tomlin has an affinity for going after problem child and trying to redeem them or restore them to try to boost his ego to say, hey, look at me, look what a great coach I am. It hasn't worked out. Now I say AD is different because while AD had his antics, whenever it's time to suit up, AD always played. We never had to worry about AD costing us the game because he was dropping passes. He was showing up late. He wasn't focused. He was fighting. He was fighting other players.
Work every day.
AD can't. Now when AD took the pads off, now that was AD's problem. But when AD had his pads on, you can't. AD is totally different from those guys. Totally different from those guys.
Yeah,
he was locked in.
Bill had a little bit of issues.
Hey, hold on real quick? Did y'all see the story where Martellus Bennett and Edelman? We're talking about
like 5 more minutes. I gotta call my daughter. No, I didn't. But what did you say?
So they were talking about the week that AB was a Patriot, and they said it changed like the whole level of practice. He's like Edelman said that whole week the ball did not touch the ground because like the intensity that AB brought to practice about just being great. Everybody's like, oh shit, let me get right.
He's serious. Yeah, I mean, so again, it's Tomlin has an affinity for taking guys that other teams pass up on because George Pickens was a problem at Georgia. That's why his stock dropped so low that it did.
Yeah, that's why it's
but Tomlin thinks that. Tomlin believes that he can basically cheat the system and out scheme and out maneuver and like, oh, look at me, I got a steal. You guys pass it on them. Let me show you how well I can coach.
Hey, Julian, you know what it is? I think Mike Tomlin thinks that because he's a nigga, he can understand some of these young wild niggas and he can relate to them and he can keep them in line. But what I think he doesn't realize is he's 18 years into it and he's rich as fuck. And he now is just further away from where the young niggas are because he's not the young nigga anymore. And his kids aren't growing up like the young niggas that he needs to relate to.
And young niggas are different today more than they were 10 years ago.
Huh?
Well, no, I think Mike Tomlin. Here's the thing. Mike Tomlin came into the Steelers head coach job, and he had all pros and veterans on his team. He had leaders on his team that would hold anybody accountable, no matter what the position was. And as years went past, we never found anyone to replace Hines Ward. We never found anyone to replace a James Harrison. We might have people like Cam Hayward still there, but we didn't find people like another Pouncey, guys who were leaders of men, who would hold these young guys accountable. Like think about that. We haven't had any leadership.
Y'all don't have a Ryan Clark.
You don't have Ryan Clark. He thinks he's better than what he was. Anyway. But we don't have those guys who can pull an AD or a Pickens or Claypool or Juju to the side, hold them accountable, and speak to them. And that's what I mean by the Steelers need to go back to their identity, and they need to have. And Mike Tomlin needs to have a philosophical change in how he approaches the game, because there's a reason why guys like Larry Fitzgerald, who was old and past his time, was important to the team, because he brought a culture to the team, an identity to the team, and he set a standard for what it looks like to be a receiver for those teams. We don't have that. So sometimes you got to go out and get that older guy who will hold people accountable, and then also or set a standard and also hold your players accountable. There's no reasons why George Pickens would still be on the team. And
late for games, late for meetings.
If this was Bill Belichick, would George Pickens still be a Pittsburgh Steeler?
He would never have been a Pittsburgh Steeler.
What if this was Andy Reid? Will he still be a Pittsburgh Steeler?
Depends on how well he plays on Sunday.
If this was Bruce Arians, will he still be a Pittsburgh Steeler?
Depends on how well he plays on Sunday and who he pisses off in the building above me.
But so we're saying there's some itch. There's some itch.
Yeah, I know. No, like don't get me wrong. When you say Belichick, that nigga never goes there. But when you say like Andy Reid drafts woman beaters. Like Andy Reid doesn't care about.
Andy Reid signed Michael Vick knowing that he wasn't going to be the starter that season.
Yeah, like Andy Reid. Well, Andy Reid.
Mike Tomlin signed Mike Vick.
Yeah, Andy Reid doesn't care about character. He drafted Tyreek Hill.
Well, okay, maybe that wasn't your best. But,
the reason.
But my point is,
I know your overall point is just like for a lot of teams that have standards, like Sean Payton wouldn't put up with that.
Yeah, he was the person. Actually, he was who I was thinking. Sean Payton wouldn't put up with that dumb shit. Sean Payton didn't like Russell Wilson, and Russell Wilson's the most likable fucking guy it appears to be in life.
Yeah.
Mike McDaniels was talking.
I just don't like you.
Yeah, fuck it, leave. Mike McDaniels. Did y'all hear Mike McDaniels?
He's coming to practice like he's got to fucking shake hands and kiss babies. Like,
but did y'all hear the thing about Mike McDaniels saying like he can't find the players enough to get them to show up on time?
Yeah, but that's somebody that doesn't have control of the whole thing. Like,
yeah.
But hey, Mr. Turner, thank you for your time, man. We appreciate you answering the phone and giving us your time. You know, you're much better than Josh Holsey. Josh Holsey acts like he's not even our friend when we call him.
Well, Josh Holsey might answer the phone, he might not, and then all his responses are just like, well, that's dumb, that's stupid.
Well, that or he's got to walk the dog.
Yeah.
One or the other.
Well, that's what happens. You know? Yeah, because hey, if it's snowing, Josh will keep going.
And on that note, we appreciate you coming on, Mr. Turner. It's always a pleasure. I will be in contact with you a little bit later probably tomorrow.
All right, love you, boys.
All right, love you too, Doc.
All right.
All right. Well, we always enjoy insight from Mr. Turner. He's always a great guest on the show.
That was a great 30 minutes.
Yeah. Probably got some good clips out of that too.
Yeah, shout out to the AI. Well, we have nothing left on the Steelers. Let's get to the Sunday games.
Yeah, Buffalo game, snoozer.
Yeah, I actually slept through the entire game.
It started off hot, obviously, because they threw that deep pass, and you're like, oh, okay, Broncos plus 8.5 is alive. Then slowly but surely, you watch the game, and you're like, God, James Cook's kind of getting whatever he wants on the ground. Ty Johnson's getting whatever he wants. Josh Allen's kind of getting what he wants. Oh, man, the Broncos aren't moving the ball. They're punting. It got out of hand really early to where that second half was even slower, and, that was the game.
I was asleep.
Yeah, it was trust me, that nap was probably much more fulfilling than watching that game and listening to Tony and Jim talk with the CBS broadcast.
The broadcast was bad, and what I was awake for, Tony sounded like he had a long night.
He went out to Duff's or
no, he was in Toronto.
Yeah.
He crossed the border.
He took that hour drive to get to Toronto.
Yeah. It sounded like
go out there with the tings.
Yeah, because his voice was just a little too raspy for me. I'm like, yeah. Tony got drunk.
Toronto's a great city. Buffalo's got some great people. I mean, I didn't party in Buffalo, but
but if you're Tony Romo, you're partying in Toronto. You're not partying in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just sounded like he had, a few too many cigs, and he hadn't had a cig in a while because he's just been, taking it easy.
Yeah.
He's like, nah, this is Toronto without the wife. We out of here.
All right. Meanwhile, Jim is chilling at the Trump
for his 500th game.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I got on that one. And then we had the night game?
Well, you wanted to skip over the other
stuff. No, yeah. What was the 4:00 game?
It was the Packers and Eagles, the snoozer.
Yeah, that was bad too. I slept through that one.
It was just bad football in general, though. Like, Jordan Love looked not like somebody that should have been paid a lot of money. The Eagles couldn't pass the ball.
Jalen Hurts looked like he still should be in the protocol.
Brown is on the sidelines reading a book. I mean, like, these are things that were going on during that telecast.
Yeah, Saquon could have scored a touchdown, and he slid.
It fucked a lot of people. Anyone that took his anytime touchdown was mad as hell. Like, they were mad as hell. Like,
what else we got? Then we got the only good game of the week.
The only good game, and the game that I will continue to say it until I'm blue in the face, the game that should have been played in Atlanta.
Yeah.
If we make the right moves, that game is in Atlanta. Baker looked like Baker, if that makes any sense. There was good and bad. He really is the definition of a gunslinger. And, somebody like Collinsworth, after he got done smoking his Camels, or you think he's a cool guy?
He's a Marlboro Red.
Okay. After he got done smoking that, he's like, here's a guy, Mike, he's a gunslinger. You see this picture of him when he's 11. When I spoke to him in the media session, he told me, I said, well, who did you want to be when you grew up? And he said, Brett Favre. And I said, I kind of, see the Brett Favre. This guy, he's the gunslinger. He lets it rip just like I rip my Marlboro Reds. Like,
Mike, this is a guy. We're sitting in a meeting, and I kick everyone out, and I talk to the quarterbacks. And me and Baker sat in there, and he said, "Hey, Collinsworth, pass me one of those Reds, man. Let's talk."
Right.
And we fucking ripped cigarettes. And Friday, I know how the league works. I played there. We ripped a couple shots of tequila. We just had us a great fucking time. Yeah, that Baker Mayfield,
He's
I
all
just
right.
for the guy because he's a great fucking time.
Let me tell you, there's only two people that are better than Baker Mayfield to have a good time with, and that's me watching Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen in prime time. I mean, if you ever wanted to see a video of me watching it, just go to Pornhub or something. It's that graphic, So, but good game, seriously. In all
that was a great game.
Good game. Was not surprised that they won. When I look back at the picks, I'm mad I took the over, not because it should have went over, but if Dan Quinn just kicks a couple more fucking field goals earlier in the game goes over. But I think that Jaden Daniels is a legit star. And it's not just this thing where I feel like next year he's CJ Stroud and has that sophomore slump either. And look, I take it back to even our fantasy football trade. And I'll tell people this all the time. Week 3, I think it was week 3. Yeah, week 3 Monday night, after I saw them beat the Bengals, we were texting, and I told you, I said, I have to have Jaden Daniels. I told you. I literally, because you're well, I do Darnold. And I was like, no. I said, no. I said, Jaden's got to be in this trade. And I said, I know what'll tickle your fancy.
Make it worth my while.
And I put Justin Jefferson in the deal because I was like, I'll give you my best player. You know what I mean? I'll give you my best player. I needed a quarterback, and that's who I wanted. And unfortunately, obviously didn't win the league, but rode him all the way to the championship, and the rest is history. But I saw a star that night. That night, bro, I saw it.
Yeah, no. And here's the thing. The Commanders have won their last 5 games on the last drive. And we talked about this yesterday. When they got the ball back, it's like, these niggas about to score.
He was as cool as a cucumber.
He just chilling. He's just okay.
Bro, even when the kick doink, they showed him, bro, he had no reaction really to it. And I like the poise and just anybody can get it. I'm always ready, kind of swag that he plays with, bro.
And here's what I hate about our 2023-2024 season. You and I talked about it midway through the season. It's yo, we could get Jaden Daniels. That'd be all right.
Yeah. He was somebody I was high on. And Penix too. Penix was somebody I did like.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, we were
actually the two people that we probably wanted more than anyone.
Well, yeah, because we also understand that in order to engage the city appropriately, we should probably have a black quarterback.
And I didn't want Drake. I didn't want Drake May over either of them. I didn't want JJ McCarthy. I didn't want Bo Nix. I thought Bo Nix would be good if we could have got Bo in the second round. I was game for that. But I didn't want Bo at 8.
I didn't want Caleb. I knew we weren't.
But we knew we weren't getting him anyways.
But I'm just saying, just as I'm not a Caleb believer,
right?
Because I don't like the way. His biggest knock is he doesn't play in the pocket.
Oh, I thought it was the fingernails.
I don't care about that shit. I would make fun of him if I'm in the locker room, call him soft and shit. But if he was cool, I would still fuck with him. But no, I don't like the way he plays from the pocket. He likes to bail. He likes to get deep drops and stuff like that. And I go, bro, can you just sit in the pocket 1, 2, 3 out, 1, 2, 3 out?
He's such an impromptu player, though. That's what made him look so good at USC. Because he made him look on a whim. And he does have the arm talent. The arm talent's there.
But that looked bad to me because I'm at the college level, you at USC, I love the improvisation when it's necessary. But do you always have to improv? You're improvising too much. Bro, read your lines. Especially
for a guy that many people would have considered maybe a candidate for the Cowboys job if things just didn't go so south where he was. But
I mean, yeah, Link's dialing it up. If I know nothing about college football, I know Link can dial it up. Now, execution, that's a different conversation.
Yeah.
But Link can dial it up. He got 3 Heisman's under his belt, and Jalen got invited to New York.
Yeah.
Get that nigga a quarterback that can move a little bit. You're getting you gonna make $100 million. I promise you.
He'll turn your lemons into lemonade, no doubt.
If I ever have a son, and he's a quarterback, and Lincoln Riley is calling plays out of college, and he's interested, hey son, you go to Link. Hey, it don't matter if you don't start freshman year. Don't hit the portal. Stay.
Just be ready when your number's called.
You give him 3 years, because if you don't play, we can get 2 years. You already got redshirted because you didn't play. We can get to 5 years, and we might come up with some bullshit to get you another year. No. But you get 3 years under Link, bro. And then if you don't play in that 3rd year, okay, we gotta make some shake. But if you're gonna play that 4th year, nah, bro, you stay with Link.
Yeah,
like you don't leave Link. Like I But anyways, that takes us to Monday night.
Another game.
Let me tell you about
it's a snoozer.
I watched the first half. And then the second half, I was out watching the game, but like in the second half, I kind of like wasn't paying attention to the game. I was being social and shit. And then I get home as the game's ending, the game's over, and Troy and Joe are doing their post-game interview with Scott Van Pelt. And like I left my TV on, and I walk in the house, and all it is Troy just taking the biggest shit on Sam Darnold and the Minnesota Vikings. And from everything I've heard during the game, he was just shitting on Sam like, no, that's on the quarterback. He had 4 seconds. He had a clean pocket. He had time. He could have thrown the ball away. He didn't have to take 9 sacks.
And it was 100% objective, though. He's an objective commentator, and I think that's why people appreciate Troy Aikman. It was objective. I mean, he's somebody that played the position at a high level, obviously won, whether people want to give him credit for the winning or not. He has
Hall of Famer, 3 rings.
He's a Hall of Famer, 3 rings, right? And number one
overall pick.
Yeah, I mean, his legacy, and he's been doing this for a long time. And Sam Darnold,
White Jason.
Boy, Sam Darnold lost himself tens of millions of dollars over the last 2 weeks.
I think he lost $15 to $20 million a season. He went from
a lot of people were like, "Oh yeah, he's going to get 40 over 3."
They were saying he was going to get 50.
I
personally wouldn't off of one season, but they were saying he was going to get 50. And
look, and let me tell you, whoever gave him 50, I don't care. He wouldn't have played as well as he did this past year, and whoever he wouldn't have went 14-3, that man would have lost their job after next season. They would have, because then they were like, "Oh fuck, we're stuck with this contract. He's going to be the starter next year." Because look,
and you guaranteed like 120 of it.
And then don't let it be a team like – now, I think Tom Brady's smarter than that. But
Indy. It would be Indy.
Indy or like the Titans. Like I said, because I can see the Titans still doing it. A team like that. And then if Shador like balls out, everybody's like – somebody smacks whoever the new GM is upside the head and says, "Stupid." Looking just like
oh, shit, man. But yeah, round 1 was kind of a snooze fest. Not gonna lie to you.
Like Jerry
Jones took the headlines going into the Monday night game, and then Sam Darnold played like shit. But real quick, we talked about Troy Aikman, and I just want to say, Troy Aikman and Joe Buck are amazing. Why? Because they've been together forever, and they have great chemistry. Nobody calls a game better than Joe Buck. Name the sport, give me Joe Buck. Al Michaels is just old now, okay? Now, Al Michaels 7 years ago, we can have a conversation. Al Michaels 12 years ago, Joe Buck, sit your little short ass down. But I don't think anybody does color better than Troy, because Troy is actually honest. Like he praises players when they deserve it. He explains the game in a way that you like it. And he's critical when it's necessary. You know what I mean? Like, he's actually critical, and he doesn't suck dick. Like, he gives praise, but he doesn't suck dick. Like, he's not going to watch somebody roll out left and throw across their body and say, "Oh, hey, Mike. Hey, Joe, that was Mahomesian." You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not going to say anything like that. He's going to go, "Great throw by the quarterback. I probably wouldn't have done that because, you you shouldn't roll away to your weak side and throw across your body. But he had him there and he made a perfect throw, and that's why it worked. You know what I mean? Like, he's actually gonna layer the play and not just suck off the highlight.
You know what's crazy? Awful Announcing did, I don't know if you know this, it released like 6 days ago. They actually did a ranking of the top commentary duos, and not just pro football, but across the board.
Okay.
And so I'll just go from the top 10 on down. But it was a top 20. Number 10. Hold on. If it'll pop up. Okay. Number 10 is 12, 11. Okay. Number 10. Damn, I passed it. Okay. Iron Eagle, Nate Burleson, and JJ Watt, Netflix.
Never a three-man booth is never top 10.
Number 9, Peyton Manning, Eli Manning.
I can get behind that. I love the Manning cast.
8, Al Michaels, Kirk Herbstreit.
Fuck no. Herb Street sucks on the NFL.
7, Noah Eagle, Greg Olson, Netflix.
Greg Olson's really good. I don't remember if I listened to commentary that day, but Noah Eagle's good, so I'm okay with that.
6, Jim Nance, Tony Romo.
Let me see who's in front of
NFL only. Yeah, I guess it is. 5, Iron Eagle, Charles Davis. And I know you had your comments about Charles Davis.
Oh, no. Charles Davis is a fucking was a wet blanket.
They are the least hated NFL booth. It says that's what their winner was with that. But 4, Kevin Harlan and Trent Green. Kevin Harlan's great. He's typically, they're like radio. They're like more so like on radio. If you listen to a national game on like 92.9 game, it's them.
Okay, so I haven't heard them, but I've heard Kevin Harlan call basketball, and Kevin Harlan has a great voice.
Yeah, and that's why he's going to be really good with the Amazon NBA stuff. 3, Mike Tirico and Chris Collinsworth.
Yeah.
2, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman.
Well, one's wrong.
Joe Davis and Greg Olson at 1. So the B group for Fox is the top. This is according to Awful Announcing.
Well, Tom Brady's not good, but it's year 1. Like, here's what I've learned.
But we knew. Would it surprise you? Tom doesn't seem like the type that walks away from money. But would it surprise you that after he calls the Super Bowl, he's like, nah, I'd rather just get into this owning shit and really be part of the Raiders, because it kind of is a conflict of interest, anyways. But
yeah, because he can't commentate the way he wants to, because he can't have all the conversations. He can't criticize the officials, but also in Tom Brady's learning process, he is so good in long form that he's not figured out the 5-second bite yet, you know?
Yeah.
Because when Tom Brady's just talking, Tom Brady's fucking amazing.
But that's what I'm saying. Do you think that Tom would walk away after this year? Because Fox gets the Super Bowl. So, like,
maybe not this year, because Tom may be trying to accumulate more money to buy more of the team. And there's not many places where he's going to get $37 million a year.
That too. Yeah, I mean, he's getting paid.
$37 million a year.
He's getting paid to play.
Yeah, you know, $37 million a year to work what, 20, like maybe 20 weeks. Like,
he didn't even do well this year, and maybe because it was his first year, he didn't even do the preseason games for Fox. So,
yeah, so like he's working like 20, 25 weeks. He's working half the year, and he's getting $37 million.
Yeah, 20 weeks. Yeah. Because the Super Bowl, 2 playoff games.
Yeah, so
21 is the Super Bowl, but like.
Yeah. Right, so it's just like
wild card, divisional, NFC Championship, Super Bowl. Yeah.
So,
and he's technically, he has the media obligation aspect of it. He's really only working 2 days out of the week, maybe 3 tops. He has the production meeting
Friday,
media game.
It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, and he gets to be in whatever city, which typically will be Dallas. But Dallas I tell you what, they'll send him occasionally to Tampa, because clearly Tampa got a couple games, which works out for him because he's I don't know if he's still in Jeter's spot or what the hell that works, but
Tampa Bay.
yeah. So he gets to be home for when it's that, and then maybe they'll occasionally he'll get to be in LA. I'm sure the Rams have been on or something.
Yeah.
And maybe he goes to Philly or Green Bay every now and then.
Let's see. We got games this week too. So shit. I don't even know the order of the games, man. Let me pull up.
I do. Game 1 is going to be the Mahomes CJ Stroud game. So Texans at Chiefs. Realistically, to say that the Texans don't have a chance.
Hey, real quick, we're gonna pause here. We're gonna go through these games. We're gonna hit college football, then we'll do picks.
Okay.
Then we'll go into NBA and culture.
Gotcha. Yeah, to say that the Texans don't, they have a puncher's chance, of course, like any given Sunday, right? And Mahomes could get hurt or something like that. That stuff happens all the time. It's happened to Mahomes in the playoff game in this round, and that they almost lost. And I don't think that they're comfortable with Carson Wentz stepping in at this point. I wouldn't be after what I saw. And so, and I know he was playing with third stringers and stuff, but I don't know. He could have earned himself some more money to be a backup somewhere else next year. He did not do that. Like look, the Birmingham whatevers are going to be very interested in his services, but that's going to be about where it ends. Maybe he can go back to North Dakota State, be quarterback coach. Or if he beats Desmond Ridder to the punch, maybe like Fickle or somebody will bring him in. I don't know. But regardless, they have a puncher's chance because, again, similar to the Chargers game, they've got an all-pro cornerback. They've got 2 double-digit sack guys on the edge. And C.J. Stroud, for what it's worth, if he plays his game, is a good quarterback too. So I don't see it happening just because I think the NFL's narrative wouldn't want it to end this way. Like, damn, they basically went 15-1. And think about it, they had a chance to win 16 games and be only the second team in NFL history to do that.
Yeah.
Right? Because the Patriots are the only team that did it. And so the question would be, is the layoff going to affect the Chiefs? And I don't think it will because they've had it so many times. This has happened so many times for them. They're used to it. But they haven't played since Christmas, which is interesting. I don't know. I don't think that the Texans will win. I could see the Chiefs winning comfortably. And once we get to the picks, I mean, obviously I'll tell you the way I'm leaning. But I just think that the Chiefs – and they were kind of hitting their stride too towards the end there. The offense looked a lot better and a lot more fluid those last 2-3 weeks that they played. Yeah, they're healthy now. Hollywood Brown gets at it. Like, you know what I mean? You're adding another weapon. Like,
do you really believe in Hollywood Brown there, probably?
Playing bad football headed into the playoffs.
Do you believe in Hollywood Brown, though?
I believe that Andy Reid can get the most out of anyone. Kadarius Toney damn near put up Super Bowl MVP numbers in the game, and now he's in street clothes.
Yeah, he should have actually won Super Bowl MVP. And then in the second game, we got Commanders and Lions.
That will be the most entertaining game. And when I say entertaining, I mean points.
Yeah, I'm thinking over.
The over-under is really high. It's like 55.5. It's high. But the Lions are liable to put up 40. So it's just kind of like, you know, but they also run the ball, which is weird. They're a running team that puts up points. They're a running team. That is not a pass. They're a running team.
The running game is leading the NFL this year. Like, the best teams run the ball really well.
Yeah.
Like even the Chiefs, they rely on a lot of run, but we got that game. Then we got Rams-Eagles. I think this game is interesting because the Rams are kind of hot. The Eagles played like shit, but I think a lot of people will overreact to both of their games and lean into the Rams, but the Eagles are just a much better team, and the Rams don't have an answer for Saquon Barkley.
That is correct.
If Jalen Hurts doesn't turn over the ball, the Eagles will be fine.
Agreed. I think that the thing with the Rams is this. Are they going to be able to keep the pocket clean for Stafford? If he has time to throw, I think that they can pick. I think they can pick the Eagles apart. But again, too, like you just said, if Hurts is healthy, can they match them Whit for Whit? I don't think so. Because the Eagles they're so fluid in what it is that they do. They need the coach to fuck them up typically for them to lose games. Well, we saw that even in our game. There was a lot of dumb shit that he did in that Monday night game early in the year. Obviously, well, and right, Saquon going for it on that fourth down too kind of was. I get it. You didn't want the Falcons to get the ball back, but if you kick the field goal, we have to score 8. Take the points. Like I don't know, but yeah.
You know what scares me about this? The Eagles are looking very poised to make it to the Super Bowl and possibly win it. And I just can't. 2 Josh Holsey Super Bowls. Like, I was with him when the Eagles won that last Super Bowl.
And how did that make you feel?
Very small.
And was it because it was the year after we lost, and then they beat the same team we lost to?
Yeah, it was the year after we lost. They beat the same. They beat a team. They beat the team that we couldn't beat, and then also that we should have beat them. And I also had to be around him during that whole playoff run. Granted, he was not in San Diego yet. For Falcons Eagles, he came like the week after, so I didn't have to watch that with him. But yeah, no, bro, it's I don't want to see my friends' teams do well if my team isn't. Although I can concede the Commanders making a run just because I like Jaden Daniels that much, and I do like DQ. I'm sorry.
Well, and let's just keep it real. We didn't hate Dan Quinn. What it is he kept doing these things in games that were fucking the games up. Like, it was just like, hold on, you didn't learn from the Super Bowl? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and that's what the issue was. It kept, these mistakes started to turn into habits. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing, I think, to make mistakes. It's another thing for them to be habits. Like, you're doing them too much. And then the brotherhood thing started to get stale because even in his press conferences, he's given these same coach spews of, we're going to go out there, we're going to fight, we're going to compete. I tell, these guys all the time, that's my brother, they're going out there, they're men, they're going out there together as brothers in this fight. And we're going to get this thing turned around. Like, it was the same, that was his news conference. Like, every fucking press conference, bro, that was what he was saying. And so it got stale. And because those mistakes were turned into habits, it got old. It was time to move on. Like, it was time for us to move on.
But no, it's like
X's and O's. I think his identifying talent and his scheme, I never had an issue with that.
It just didn't work anymore.
Yeah, and then our defense has just always been not so talented.
And we were in cap hell, and we were overpaying. And then we started overpaying Matt and Julio for who they were, not who they were going to be.
Yep.
And then the final game is the one we all been waiting for.
Oh yeah, the headliner for the week.
The MVP matchup. Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson. The Criminals versus the Catholics. Boston versus LA. Take a side and stand on. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Because I was having a conversation with a friend who's a sports fan and is also a sports media fan. And I was telling him, I was like, dude, I feel like this Lamar Josh Allen debate is almost divided upon racial lines.
Yeah. What it is they're both really, really good in reality. Yeah. Like, they are the bona fide, whether you want to say 1, B, and C or just 2, A, and B, right? Because we know that Mahomes, regardless of what type of season he had, he's the best player in the NFL. And until somebody knocks him off that mountaintop, he's the number one guy.
Yeah, like
there's no debate.
If Josh or Lamar win the Super Bowl, they get to kind of stick their leg in that conversation because if it's Lamar, he beat Josh Allen, he beat Patrick Mahomes, and then he won a Super Bowl.
It would be the same way how in the NBA when Giannis won his and when Jokic won his. As soon as they won theirs, they were respectively the best player in the league. Yeah. Right? Like, and that's why even now with the NBA, it still is debated. Even though Boston won, nobody thinks Jason Tatum's the best player in the NBA.
Well, no, Brandon Jennings thinks he's a softest Celtic or some shit like that. Softest Celtic superstars.
Yeah, wow. And then they tweeted the dumb letters on that thing. But No, but once those guys won and they were at the mountaintop, it was, who's going to knock them off? They're the best player in the league. Giannis said it the next year after he lost. He said he's the best player in the league. He said, once you win, you're the best player in the league. And that's how that nigga sound, though. That's what he was saying. But he's absolutely right. And I feel like it's the same thing with the NFL in a sense, but because Mahomes got 3 up on everybody and he's got a chance to do something that hasn't been done by any of them this year, one of them's got to do it. And here's the worst part. The loser of this game, the questions just keep going. I think it's in a weird way, it's worse for Lamar. If the Ravens lose, I think that this will be worse for him.
Well, yeah, because Lamar has the MVPs. He's probably going to win the 3rd MVP. And
I told you this year.
And I told you this thing is divided along racial lines, it appears. And the loudest voices, the most prominent voices in sports media are white, and they are pro Josh Allen.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they are pro Josh Allen because they're white. Like, I'm not accusing people of being racist but we do have implicit biases and explicit biases as well. But like, so it can play into it. And then Josh Allen's style of play is closer to traditional than Lamar, even though he is a running quarterback who does not make every pass the way that you would like for him to as often as you would like for him to.
He's a souped up love child of Ben Roethlisberger and Cam Newton.
Yeah, if 2 men could have a kid and them 2 had a kid, it's him.
And Lamar Jackson is every Falcons fan's wildest imagination of Michael Vick. And honestly, now with the 40 touchdown, 4 pick, 900-yard season, now we're looking at him, and like I said, his numbers are on par with Rodgers and Manning. Now you have to take that nigga seriously as a passer. Like you have to put him up there as one of the best passers in the game. Like you have
what niggas have to understand is Lamar has been the finest nigga always, and people didn't realize it, right? He goes to Louisville because he's not going to be able to do all that on the college level.
And Bobby Petrino said it, though. He said when he recruited him in Miami, he said, yeah, he's like, this nigga, he's like, he reminds me of Michael Vick is what he said. And so
he gets to the college level, he does it, he wins the Heisman. Then, he drops to the back end of the first. He's the last pick of the first round. He's not going to be able to do what he did in college in the NFL and win.
Well, Bill Polian said he should be a wide receiver or a running back.
Well, Bill Polian is one of those people who I was talking about with biases and not accusing of racism. He's not. I wasn't talking about Bill Polian.
Well, and Bill Polian's from the class of Jim
6'4",
Kelly and Peyton Manning. Yeah, I like my quarterbacks to be traditional pocket passing white guys.
They know the playbook.
Yeah.
So, but no, and then he gets to the NFL. And he does the same shit that he did in college, that he did in high school. Like in his first MVP season, it was like 3,500 passing yards, 1,000 rushing yards, and a bunch of touchdowns.
And like 35 touchdowns, 8 picks.
Yeah. It's like, this nigga's killing. And then this year, it's only 900 rushing yards, not as many touchdowns because they have Derrick Henry to run the ball in the red zone. But 4,000 passing yards, 40 touchdowns, 4 picks, and a top 4 of all time passer rating. Crazy.
Yeah.
Like Mahomes has not been that efficient of a passer consistently throughout a season, even if he's been a better passer in the biggest moments in a season. You know what I mean? Like just day in and day out, we haven't seen anybody play this well in a very long time. There's nobody in the league There's no one in the league who's played at this level based on who they are today. Like Aaron Rodgers can't duplicate that. Patrick Mahomes hasn't proven to do that. Josh Allen hasn't proven to do that. Even though Joe Burrow had more touchdowns, more passing yards, he hasn't proven to be that efficient of a passer in his career. And these are all guys who are considered better passers than Lamar. No, Lamar finally has a OC who understands how to call plays to make him the very best version of himself. And if you go back and look at the Ravens, like they lost 5 games, but if you actually go back and look at their losses, you can take away 1, 2, 3, 4 losses and be like, And then lastly, what I'm really hating about this game, because I heard Nick Wright say some of the dumbest shit I've ever heard somebody who gets paid millions of dollars to talk about sports say. Well, if you want to think about beating the Bills, look at what the Rams and the Buccaneers did. Now, they beat the Rams, but the scheme of getting deep, if they don't have Zay Flowers, I don't know if that can happen. How about this? This team, and granted, earlier in the season, they had Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, and they
We're doing. We're running.
like you remember that game? It was Sunday Night Football, if I remember correctly. It was a standalone game, and the Bills, but Bills Ravens.
Yeah, they beat
beat the 35-10. Derrick Henry broke for like a 70-yarder, and he broke another long one. It was like, oh, I didn't see him. If I would have seen him, he would have tackled me. And it's just like, I believe you.
Yeah, and just if you take a look back, even the first game of the year against Kansas City, obviously toenail away from tying the game. Maybe you go for two, maybe you just send it to OT. Who knows? But another weird thing about that game is that they didn't use Derrick Henry. And that was what they used him on the first drive when they scored the touchdown. He carried the ball like 5 or 6 times. And you know why? Because I bet on his rushing attempts in that game. It was like 15 or 16 and a half. And he didn't fucking get it. And I was just like, how the fuck does he get the ball 5 times on the first drive and then not get 12 the rest of the game? Made no sense. And they weren't playing from behind the entire time. So they
and if you remember that game, they're like with the new changes in the legal formation, they kept getting illegal formation calls to that game, getting behind the sticks. So like not only just the toenail, there are other parts of that game that showed you this was week 1.
Yeah.
Like they weren't them yet. And the new DC, a guy who's our age, calling plays on the sideline, crazy.
Yeah.
The defense is fucking cooking now.
Yeah, the defense looks a lot better. You look at that Raiders game, which was their next game, their home opener, Mulligan. That was maybe the Mulligan game of the year. Yeah. They had a Mulligan. The Raiders played really well. Like Devontae Adams had like 120 yards, like 2 touchdowns. Like he had an all-pro type day. Then you look at the Steelers game, that weird pick. Yeah. That wasn't really on him. Plus, Justin Tucker missed 2 field goals and an extra point. They lost by 2. Clearly the difference in the game, similar to how Koo fucked us against the Saints. And, yeah, so look, that's 3 losses right there that we just accounted for.
Yeah. And they will be a 2-loss team, and they will be a higher seed. So, like,
should have lost to the Jets. The Bills had a couple of games they should have lost this year. Like the Jets should have beaten them on that Thursday night game, I think, or Monday night.
And shouldn't they have lost a game to the Patriots too?
Or
they could have lost a game to the Patriots.
Yeah, they were down like almost that whole game. They won. I mean, that's one of those ugly wins. Like we're not playing well, but we're just better than you. Like,
fair enough. Parlay Pete, tee up college football while I go TT.
Well, you got an interesting college football matchup too, though. Ohio State, Notre Dame. I think it'll be interesting, no doubt about that. You got Marcus Freeman, who's basically looked at as the Sean McVay of college football, coming in, first national championship, first black coach in a national championship. And not that should be noted, because I know that he didn't want that, and I don't think that people should look at that stuff like that. But you still do have to acknowledge like these type of accomplishments. And they're going against who was the preseason favorite in Ohio State. I, unlike a lot of people, actually like Notre Dame in this game. I think that Notre Dame plays a similar style of ball that Michigan did and has played for years. And that seems to be the kryptonite of a Ryan Day-led team. Now, granted, Ohio State's got more weapons. I would say they're better at quarterback. I don't think that they're necessarily better coached. I think that their defenses are pretty even. I would even give the edge actually really to Notre Dame, because at least in the Notre Dame games that I've watched in the playoffs, their defense has looked like an SEC type of defense. And so I think it's going to be a really, really interesting game. There's no doubt about that. Ohio State, there's a lot of stuff, though, on the line for Ohio State as far as I'm concerned, too, when you look at it. This was a team that came in with the hype. I think them and Georgia shared the best odds to win the national championship. So it's always been a national championship or bust type of year for Ohio State. They add Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly leaves his job at UCLA to become the offensive coordinator at Ohio State. You get Will Howard in as a transfer. You get Quinshon Judkins in. You've got arguably what some people think if Jeremiah Smith came out, some people believe that he would be the first pick in the draft if that was the case. So all the weaponry and stuff is there for Ohio State to get this thing done. But I don't know. There's just something special about the Notre Dame team. And in a weird way, that Northern Illinois game, it's crazy because that was the last time I bet on Notre Dame for the most part.
Smart.
Well, of course they lost. They lost the game. They lost the game I bet on them in. And so
yeah, and you were scared ever since.
Yeah. And they've covered every game since, literally. And I just think that there's something kind of special about the Notre Dame team. But Ohio State is certainly built to win the game. But while you were taking a tinkle, I was basically telling our listeners how this Notre Dame defense reminds me of an SEC defense, the way that it looked against Georgia, the way it looked against Penn State. Like, they remind me of an SEC defense. He's got some dogs on that side of the ball, and offensively, they're able to control the clock. And they don't look like – one thing about Riley Leonard, too, is that he doesn't get, it seems like, overwhelmed. Like, when they spotted Penn State 10 to start the game, he threw a pick early, all this other stuff. They didn't, start to lose it. Like, oh man, we got to get out of our how we run our offense and stuff like that. There was some poise there. They collected themselves, bro, and they continued to play their game. Once we get to the picks, you'll see how I feel about this game. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised at all if Notre Dame won because they played just like Michigan.
I wouldn't be either, man, because they're a physical team. And I text you during the game last week and was like, Notre Dame doesn't have a chance in hell because in that first half, Penn State was just dogging them. They were just dogging them,
Walking the dog.
And then the game turns around and you go, okay, this is a Notre Dame team that beat Georgia. This is a Notre Dame team that I want to believe in. And this is a Notre Dame team that could possibly win a national championship. And obviously they're there. But let me tell you something real quick. Penn State versus Notre Dame. Whitest football game I've ever watched in my life. It was Brian versus Tom.
It was priests versus pedophiles is what they called it. But look,
was that on Twitter?
I think I saw somebody made a shirt too. But I mean,
that's not funny. That's not funny.
Look, their histories
speak for themselves.
Roman Catholic.
Who are the actual pedophiles?
Well, the pedophiles were on the Penn State side.
Well, but you're talking about the Catholic Church.
Well, that's the point. That's why it's pedophile. Well, one of them's called priest. The other one's just pedophile. One's got it's just like the Scooby-Doo guy at the end when they rip the mask off. One gets caught. One gets caught and goes to prison. The other one just gets reassigned to another church. Yeah, pretty much. But I think I'm excited. And obviously that game's going to be here in Atlanta. So that's, interesting too within itself.
I'm thinking about, getting outside for that.
Monday. Well, you got, that's MLK Day too.
Yeah.
Wow. Who's decided to do that?
Well,
they have no choice but to put the game's always on a Monday. But I'm just the more and more I look at, I know because college football is extended now, but like,
you think ABC cares about Martin Luther King Day?
No, I'm not even saying that. But I know that, like, for instance, like the Hawks, if I'm not mistaken, they're not playing that day.
First time in like forever.
Yeah, which is interesting, right? Like,
it makes sense because
that's always been the game that the Hawks could bank on. Like, yes, we're going to be on TNT. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're going to be on TNT. And typically Chuck and Ernie, like Shaq, all those guys, they're there. They'll be there in the stadium. So,
hey, bro, you know what really sucks about this weekend?
What's that?
Because the Natty's here, I have to be like alcoholically responsible and can't like drive down to the city and be like, fuck it, let me just find a room.
I know.
They're going to bend me over.
Well,
it's like, hey, big dog, just take the Uber.
Well, yeah, they're going to bend you over. There's no doubt about that.
Just take the $50 Uber.
I'm curious as to what the Signy is going for.
Shit, look it up.
I am. I'm about to type it in now. Let me see. Signia. And that's I'll just do it from Friday to Tuesday.
I'll tell you guys, I'm rooting for Notre Dame. I don't think they're the better team, but I think that the matchup can play into their favor. But I'm rooting for Notre Dame. And it's kind of like some people were rooting for Barack Obama in 08, and some people were rooting for Kamala Harris in 2024. Root for the black man. Also, I'm just not a huge fan of Ryan Day.
So Signia doesn't even come up because I'm sure that they're sold out.
Yeah.
But I'll give you an answer. The Omni at Centennial Park. Give me a guess of how much you think per night.
400.
Nigga, try again. Higher.
6.
Huh?
6.
You're not close.
12.
You're not close.
15. 25.
Lower.
20. 2000.
22.29.
Bro, that's usually like $150 room.
22.29. So hold on. That's per night, by the way. So your total if you got here Friday and you just on a humbug, so like fuck it, I'm going. $10,445 to stay in a box. This is for a Deluxe King 1 bed. Wow. What do
Hey,
I have the
I'm Ubering to the city if I'm down there Friday night.
Let me see. Hold on. Airbnb. I gotta read it. The app's gotta like reload up. I'm curious as to what Airbnb's going for.
Bro, you have to stay in like fucking Powder Springs.
Well, this one's now granted, and that's also for a hotel literally right next to the stadium, right?
True.
But these are the weekends I wish that I owned where I was living. Because you could just do whatever you want.
Because they have the vibes too.
Yeah, I know. Well, just being there. All right, hold on. Let me see where I'm going to type in Atlanta just to see like what are Atlanta going for that same date. And I'll say it's 4 people, 4 adults. Downtown Atlanta. Now it's just bringing up in general.
Yeah, bro, they had you in Vinings. It's like, nigga, I don't want to stay in Vinings.
Yeah, downtown Atlanta. All right, there we go.
Wendy Williams is going to be at a breakfast club tomorrow, if you care to know.
Really?
Yeah.
They're trying to make a comeback, huh?
Sure.
The Airbnb's not that bad. These aren't like super close to the stadium, but like it's downtown. $275, like it's not
okay.
cheap. That's more like it,
Yeah, I mean, but the thing about Airbnb is you have to commit to Airbnb before you leave the house. Like you can't necessarily you cannot get Airbnb.
Yeah, because they have
where like with a hotel, it's like, hey man, I'm too drunk. I'm gonna leave my car here and then I'm gonna Uber to this hotel and come get this bitch in the morning. You talk about irresponsibility. So I mean that kind of wraps up college football. I'm trying to think, is there anything college football or college and NFL football that
going to Miami? I mean,
cares?
Yeah.
I mean, he's not good. Do we think Deion's actually going to get hired by Jera? I don't. We didn't really talk about it. I
think that there's a chance. And I can just only leave it at that. I think that there is a legitimate chance that he would take the job. I think that all of his demands would have to be met. And the question is, will Jerry meet the demands?
Would he trade for Shedeur?
No, because they don't know if that can happen. Like, because people are trying to say
video.
People are saying that the Titans would give up their 1 for Dak, and I don't know if they would do that. I mean, maybe they would. Honestly, the Titans instantly become, if not the favorite, the second favorite in that division for sure.
I mean, I wouldn't trade for Dak and take on
that Calvin Johnson. I just don't know if you're giving up the 1 to get Dak.
Calvin, really, nigga?
Yeah, not Calvin Johnson. Calvin, really, yeah. You know what I mean.
I know. Oh, Edie dunked on Wemby, by the way, if you care to know.
Babe, Wemby's getting posterized. Look away. No. Good for Edie. He's 7'4", 7'5"
Sure.
himself.
I don't know. Tall and skinny. You ready? You got the picks up? You ready to do this?
I do have the picks.
So it's just 1 6-pack. Yes, right.
Yeah, because it'll include college on this one.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Parlay P's special NFL and college football 6-pack. Six. Please don't.
Which I guess we'll get to him here shortly, but nonetheless, pretty good week overall last week. If you count the college football picks that we kind of did as a bonus, 6-2. I liked where we were at. Called both upsets with the Rams and the Texans. Did like the Commanders. If anyone goes back and listens, I like the Commanders to win the game. I just thought the over was a little bit safer of a bet. Clearly it wasn't. Anywho, we'll move on to this week and get to what everybody's been waiting for. You've got the Houston Texans headed to Arrowhead Stadium to take on the Chiefs. I got to tell you, I think that the Chiefs are going to low-key cover the 8, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy the 1.5, and we're going to take the Chiefs minus 6.5. I like Kansas City to win by at least a touchdown. I think that they'll get off to a slow start, and it'll be one of those slow starting type games, but then you just see kind of Patrick Mahomes get the lead. Then they kind of use that duo of Pacheco and Hunt and maybe even a little bit of Steele and kind of just pound the Texans. I know it's crazy. I know that's a little crazy, but give me Kansas City minus 6.5. I like the Chiefs. But I'm going to buy the points just because it could be one of those backdoor cover type games. And I don't like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it could be an 11-point game possibly, and then they kick the field goal and then it's 8. Or it could be a 10-point game and then it's 7. So the safest thing is the Chiefs are going to win by a touchdown. So give me the Chiefs minus 6.5. Next, we got the Washington Commanders at the Detroit Lions. Juicy game. I think this is going to be the most exciting game. And I think that everybody's going to get to see that Jaden Daniels is a real motherfucker. But I'm going to buy the points on this one too. Now, the Lions have been one of the best teams covering in the NFL this season. I still think that they're injured on the defensive side of the ball. I know they got Anzalone back, but they're still hurting over there. Obviously, Hutchinson's been gone a good majority of the season, so that's kind of been picked up. Detroit was in a dogfight in the divisional round last year against Tampa. Washington beat Tampa. Similar type vibes here. Give me the Commanders plus 10.5. I bought the 1.5 on this one too. I think that the Commanders will cover a 10.5-point spread. Because again, this could be one of those games, in my opinion, where the Lions are either up 3 or up a touchdown, and maybe they have the ball last, but it's like the Commanders have 2 timeouts and it's 3rd and 7, and they're at the 35, and they run the ball to be safe, and then he's like, I'm just going to kick the field goal. He actually doesn't go for it. He just kicks the field goal, and then, they win by 10, and then the Commanders just don't get downfield.
I think the Commanders win the game, by the way.
So, I think that they can, but I'm just going to take them 10.5. Give me Commanders plus 10.5.
That's fair.
Next, you got the Rams at the Eagles. Now, this is the game. I think the Rams are going to win this game, but that's not my pick. Similar to last week, I'm just going to take the over here. I like over 43.5 in Rams at Eagles. That seems a little low to me, honestly. Doesn't that just seem like a low number? Because they're basically saying the Rams won't get to 20 is kind of what you're saying. That's how I view it. You're saying that they won't get to 20. Either that or you're saying that the Eagles are going to score a ton, one way or the other. I think that the game is higher scoring than 43.5. Matter of fact, when they played earlier this year, that game was really high scoring. So I know it's in Philly, but give me over 43.5 Rams at Eagles. And then next, the main event of the dinner that we've got coming for football, Ravens at Bills. It's pretty simple to me. I think that the Ravens are going to win the Super Bowl this year. I think it's going to be them in Detroit. That's who I think is going to be in the Super Bowl. So give me the Ravens on the money line. I think that Buffalo, again, another team similar to what the Chargers were last week, a team that's overachieved, in my opinion. And to me, if the Ravens can't get it done this year, when are they going to get it done? It's put up or shut up time for them. I like the Ravens and in Buffalo. I think that they'll travel well and that it goes well there. Oh, and I also like over 51 in this game. I do like the over. I think that this game is a shootout. I see a 31-27 type game, 34-37. I think there's going to be plenty of points in this one. So give me over 51 as well. And then for the final game, we've got the national championship on Monday, Ohio State at Notre Dame. I like Notre Dame to actually win this game. I'm not going to take the money line, though. Just give me the points. I'm not going to buy any points or anything. Notre Dame +8's the play. I think that's way too many points for a national championship. And this isn't, your older brother's Notre Dame with Manti Te'o playing against Alabama. So it's not going to be a blowout like the last time they were in this. Give me Notre Dame +8.
We're not fighting demons. We're fighting ghosts.
Yeah.
All right, so we got Kansas City -6.5, the Commanders +10.5, Rams and Eagles over 43.5, Ravens on the money line, Ravens at Bills over 51, and Notre Dame +8.
Yep, and you can even put this in. Did I take? Nah, it's what it is. I took money line on it on that Ravens game. But I was gonna say, if you wanted to, let's say you take the Ravens -1, you can tease this thing too by 6 points +700. Really good odds for a teaser.
Hey, there you go for the listeners. That's the listener exclusive because I am not writing that down.
Yeah.
But you know what? I like that. I really like that. And if you like it, well, usually it's you liking it, but I like it. But if you like it, then I love it. Parlay Pete.
And that means when you love it, it's time for
Leads 3. Leads 3. Leads 3. All right, so for Leads.
Jerry.
Great doc, by the way.
Yeah, good doc.
So for Leads 3 this week, it doesn't really matter because it's only going to be one video. But for Leads 3, we got Kansas City -6.5. As much as I want CJ Stroud and D'Amico Ryans to win, because we support everything black over here when it makes sense. Only when it makes sense and it performs better, not when it's just black. That's crazy. I'm rooting for them, but I got to be objective. Kansas City -6.5. Give me the Ravens on the money line.
Nigga as it gets, by the way.
Very true.
Black and mild and everything.
He's a DUI, drunk.
Yeah. He got the wood.
Yeah, play MLB, got him a white woman. He's a nigga.
Yeah, about that.
But yeah, give me the Ravens on the money line. I'm pretty sure I picked the Ravens to win the Super Bowl at the beginning of the year because I picked them to win the Super Bowl every year. I'm going to pick them until they win it or until it just makes absolutely no sense to say that. And then lastly, I like Notre Dame on the money line, but you know what? I like them +8 too.
Yeah,
Notre Dame
great money there. That's good value. I think they're going to win, but I don't want to stick my name out there for that. I'll say I told you so next show, but like the points, it's either way you win. You'll win one way or another.
But hey, guys, that's the football portion of the show. We're about to transition to a little bit of basketball and a tad bit of culture. So here we go. All right, Parlay Pete, we're back. We're going to get into some culture, some NBA, just a tad. Hold on, let me write down this timestamp.
It's all the same thing, right? Basketball.
I mean, pretty much.
Yeah.
Basketball, the culture league. It's not really, it's not about brotherhood. It's about me versus me over we.
Yeah.
And speaking of me over we, Jimmy Butler has been in the headlines, and you know what? Jimmy Butler gives us a basketball story and a culture story that we get to talk about. And I absolutely love that. So for Jimmy Butler, he and Pat Riley have been going at it. He's requested and demanded a trade. He's not been happy with the organization. He's been wearing different color braids to show the teams he wants to go to. He got suspended for 7 games. He comes back on Friday. Apparently, allegedly, according to Shams, he had a meeting with Pat Riley, told him that get me out of here and I'm not signing my player option. I call Cap. He's going to sign that player option.
51 million, right?
52.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Man. He doesn't get a 3-year. He'll get a 3. If somebody gave him a 3-year deal, what would that look like? 80, maybe?
No, 120.
Really? You think somebody's paying his old ass that money, bro?
Yeah.
What's Butt's 36?
They're paying 35.
Shit.
They're paying him for the first year and a half. They're paying for the first year and
the fully guaranteed contract.
Yeah, they're paying him for the first year. They're paying him for the first year and then hopefully the playoffs in the second year. In third year, it's like fuck it, he's about to retire. So, anyways, he kind of stood on business in a way publicly that we haven't seen anybody treat Pat Riley. But I'm not gonna lie to you. Given the backstory, I kind of rock out with Jimmy because if you think about it, apparently Jimmy asked for a star after getting these guys to the finals 2 times in 4 years and to the Eastern Conference Finals, 3 times in 4 years?
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah, and it was like game 7, and like if he would have driven to the basket overtime in game 7, or if he makes that 3, they win game 7. Like he's had them as an NBA Finals contender for his tenure there.
And a severely overachieving roster.
Yes.
When you're running, and I gained a ton of respect, more respect for Bam after seeing him play with Team USA to see how good of a player Bam actually is. But Bam still is not a number 2 option for a championship team.
No, he is a second best player on a championship team, but he's not a second best offensive option on a championship team.
He's a better Ben Wallace. No, I'm not disrespectful that way, but like
no, he's AD light, very light.
Right.
That's like he can, like Bam can get you 20.
They were monsters with Team USA. That lineup of him, they looked great.
Like the AD, Bam, KD, LeBron, Steph lineup is some of the best basketball I've ever seen. Or you can take out KD or LeBron and put in Ant-Man. Like that. That's just great basketball.
The lineup was Steph, LeBron, KD, and Embiid. That was the championship lineup, though.
Well, yeah,
it was the comeback lineup.
Well, yeah, that one of the best feelings I've ever felt watching pro sports in my life. Like I'm sitting at work watching this shit on my phone. I'm like going crazy in my cubicle because like I thought we were gonna lose.
It was the most, bro. I haven't felt that way about a basketball game since the Cavs Warriors game 7.
Same, yeah. Because it's one of those you remember where you were moments. And for me, it's the Cavs Warriors. And then also the 2012 Cavs, the Celtics game where LeBron went crazy. Remember where I was at that day. Yeah.
The Detroit Pistons, the Piston LeBron game. That's the first game for me where I got respect. Yeah.
But like that playoffs, like it was just I remember where I was for the game where he went crazy on the Celtics. I remember where I was in game 6 when Ray Allen hit the shot. I remember where I was in game 7 when LeBron gave them niggas this mean 35 to close it out. But anyways, I side with Jimmy here because Jimmy said, hey, I've made this franchise great again and I want this. Go get me this. And he didn't do it. And then in the offseason, bro, he's at F1. He's drunk. Like he's holding Michelob Ultras in his hand, who he is endorsed by. And he's asked about whatever. And he's like, oh, no, if I would have been there, we would have beat the Knicks and the Celtics. And then Pat Riley's like, if Jimmy's not playing, he needs to shut his mouth. Nigga, I'm grown and rich. Who the fuck are you talking to? Like, low key, I might be richer than you, Pat Riley. Like, you need to chill the fuck out, dog.
Yeah. He needs to shut his mouth. Nigga, think about when somebody tells somebody, not somebody's telling you to shut the hell up. It's nigga said he needs to shut his mouth.
Bro, I'm 35 years old.
Like nigga in ISS, nigga, and like you just getting talked to any type of way.
Oh, that sounds like a nigga on the plantation. Hey, he needs to shut his mouth.
Yeah.
Like when you tell a grown ass man to shut his mouth, it is beyond you wanting him to stop talking. It is that you want to disrespect him in the way that you want him to stop talking. You want him to question his manhood when he hears this.
Well, almost in a sense like he's calling you boy. I mean,
yeah.
And we've spoke about that on this podcast before, what boy really means. Boy is worse than nigga, in my opinion. But
if I'm Jimmy Butler, when I hear that, and then you saying you ain't gonna offer me the extension, and you ain't brought me the players I want, hey man, fuck this nigga Pat.
Boy.
This nigga ain't trying to win. You know what I'm saying? Like, and with Jimmy not playing to his fullest potential this year and wanting out, and people having so many issues with that. Parlay Pete, here's a question I got for you.
What's that?
Is Jimmy Butler wrong for being a win or nothing type of guy? Because if you think about it, he says he doesn't play hard till after the All-Star break. And we know playoff Jimmy.
Yeah, he shows up.
Is he wrong for his approach?
No, because based on everything that you hear, at least report-wise, I'm not upset at him for saying you look out every year and there's somebody going somewhere that we could have used, whether that's Cat going to the Knicks,
Bill going to the Suns, even if that doesn't work.
Yeah, just making these moves that say, hey, we want to win right now. And for him, his team has been put in a position to do it. It's an appealing franchise to go to. You're in Miami. We know how much Stephen A. loves LA and Miami. Every time he talks about it.
I mean, but because the escorts are just easily accessible there in those cities.
That, and then they somehow recognize him. They're like, hey, you're that guy, right? But
don't tell Molly.
In Indiana, it's just going to be a white guy that's 45 that wants to talk hoops with them. Down there, they'll just say, oh, you're some nigga from TV.
Oh, you're that guy that talks to Skip Bayless every day, ain't you?
Yeah, and the
surgery. I stopped watching that shit in 2012.
And the surgery is a lot better in those cities. So we get it. But point being, even more of a reason why the players should want to go, right? Like, Miami's
but Pat's running that. But at Gilbert Arenas called Miami prison with a beach view.
Well, because they get your ass in shape. There's a heat thing. Like I remember they said it, like Shaq, like any of these guys. This like a certain body fat or something that like they have to have. There's a heat standard, just like the Patriot way. There's a heat way.
So there's the body fat standard, but bigger than the body fat standard, there is the like.
And it cuts into your money if you don't make it.
Right. But they also have like certain levels of like they have to do so much cardio. And then also because Pat Riley's like a mob boss type guy, he's plugged into the city. So he's tracking all your moves. Like if you're outside the house, Pat knows.
Yeah.
And if your performance suffers, even if it's not me, like, it's niggas at home getting drunk and high and having the time of their life playing video games to 4:00 in the morning and go play like shit. But because they're in the house, oh man, he just had a bad game. Yeah. But if you're outside, it's like, oh, he's outside, so he sucks. Yeah, he's not committed. It's like, what's the difference between Kyler Murray and James Harden?
And I get where Jim's coming from. You've got Thomas Bryant, Terry Rozier, and Terry Rozier is a decent player, but like these are the guys that they were going after. Terry Rozier got shipped out of Boston because they knew that, like, hey, we're trying to win a championship, and this nigga is the only piece we're willing to get rid of this young core because he's the worst of them because we want to win.
We want Kimber.
Yeah, well, granted, that didn't work, but like
Pete, remember they could have traded for James Harden out of Houston.
Yeah,
it was 2020, and niggas was like, you can't give up Tyler Hero for James Harden. Who?
Yeah.
I can't give up Tyler Hero for James Harden?
Yeah.
Tyler Hero in salary for James Harden?
Yeah.
The nigga who's actually playing at an all-star level 5 years later.
Right.
This was Houston James Harden.
Yeah, this was.
I know he put on the fat suit to start the season because he wanted to get out.
Yeah.
But you can tell me, you watch basketball.
This was 30-point triple-double James Harden.
You think Tyler Hero gives us a better chance to win a championship than the nigga who can go give you 50 and 15 assists in the same night? A nigga who can give you a 50-point triple-double? A nigga who averaged damn near 30, almost 37 on the season with damn near 10 assists?
Yeah.
A nigga who everybody knows what move he's going to do and they still can't stop it?
Yeah. That guy.
A nigga who has proven to be able to go out night after night after night and run the city and then still get crazy on the court. Like, this nigga is made for Miami. Like he ain't going. Like he coming from Houston, a great strip club city, a great woman city. Like yeah, the variety gonna be a little bit different in Miami. You know, a little bit more Islander, a little more Cuban, Puerto Rican type instead of just your black and your Mexicans. You know what I'm saying? This nigga's built for this shit. He's built for for 4 o'clock nights and then having to play at goddamn 7 p.m. the next day.
Yeah.
The fuck are we? Papa Hero?
Yeah. That's and look, that's exactly what they're saying. And so I'm with Jim on that. And then of course, then you had the whole private jet thing that came out or whatever. And then
he's going to see his fucking dying dad, man. Pat Riley, you a bitch for that. Excuse me. You're an asshole for that.
Yeah.
I'll call you the word. That's not who I am as a man.
Yeah.
But you know what? You know what I've learned, Parlay Pete? And honestly, that all-star thing you want to do, I'm not prepared for that because I've not been watching hoops. But no, golly, what was I going to say? I lost my point. Oh, here we go. I think that NBA people, execs, media are disconnected from the NBA fan and honestly what basketball is. They've gotten so deep into the analytics and the nerd shit that they don't realize that fans and former players and even current players are kind of on the same page, bro. We want to watch basketball. We don't want to watch threes and layups, threes and dunks. No, nigga. We don't want to watch just high pick and roll. We want to watch basketball. Just like players in the media, when they criticize the product, they're saying like, hey, the game has lost its nuance. It's lost its layers. Bro, we got niggas who can't shoot taking 5 threes a game. That nigga can't shoot. In my NBA, he can't shoot 5. He can't shoot 1 3 a game unless the shot clock got 2 on it and nobody's open. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
because he can't shoot. I don't care if that's a good shot in the grand scheme of our numbers, but not from him. He can't shoot.
And that's what.
And they're so in love with like their analytics and their science, and they're like, well, nobody's watching the game because the media's not covering it right. The former players just shit on the game. Nigga, no. It's you fucking nerds who don't understand basketball, bro. Like, y'all niggas are out here saying Tyler Hero is better than James. Like, you can't trade Tyler Hero for James Harden. Y'all the type of niggas out here talking about, oh, well, I'd rather have a Tyrese Halliburton than John Morant because Tyrese Halliburton shoots for 3, he gets other players involved. Nigga, shut the fuck up. It's, oh, Trae Young, he doesn't play. He's overrated. Nigga, shut the fuck up. Oh, Jimmy Butler, do I really want to bring Jimmy Butler into my organization because you know how Jimmy Butler is? Hey, Jimmy Butler ain't never been mad when niggas trying to win. Jimmy Butler only get mad when niggas ain't trying to win.
Yeah.
That's the only time he get pissed off and go Jimmy. So, hold on. Y'all want niggas to care about championships and care about winning, but then get mad at Jimmy when he turns around and says, hey, organization, you ain't trying to win. Get me out of here. Like, if y'all ain't trying to win, y'all ain't trying to pay me to win, cool. I don't want to be here. Sorry, I've talked a lot.
No, you're speaking a ton of facts. It's definitely one of those things where the analytics are taking over common sense in the game. And that's why you have games like the Charlotte Hornets and the Chicago Bulls on 2 separate occasions tying and breaking an NBA record. First they broke it, then they tied it again, having 75 missed threes in regulation. How crazy is that? Not nuts to anybody else that there were, first of all, that there were 75 threes taken. Let's start there. But then secondly, that they were misses. Make it make sense to me. It doesn't. It doesn't make any sense. And it's just a terrible product and nobody's going to want to watch it. And granted, look, in some cases,
not up.
Well, and it truly is the case of live by the sword, die by the sword. And that's kind of what's happening to the league. They were living on it because you would have Steph Curry and Klay Thompson come out and they would have these performances where Steph Curry is not only taking shots from 38 feet away from the basket, he's making them at a high clip. Klay Thompson's scoring 39 points in a quarter. Like, yes, like it's entertaining when the guys are good and they can shoot, but then you have the stinkers like that where you got teams combining for 75 missed threes in a game. You look at something like even now, I've got a basketball score up. The Warriors are playing the Timberwolves. The Warriors are up 34-12. So it doesn't work in the case for a team like the Timberwolves because they've got Rudolph Gobert on the floor, right? He can't really step out of the paint and go defend and try and block a three. And that's why they're getting their ass whooped by a team that's not really good. And they're not a really good team. But it's bad for basketball. Even somebody like Ant recognized that he had to start shooting more threes this year, which he shoots like 10 to 12, 13, 14 threes a game. That nigga barely took threes last year, period. He might take 5 last year. Like, and he's somebody you want shooting them, right? Like,
nah, he making them at a high clip this year.
No, I know. He's doing great this year, but they're down 34-12. They just scored 12 points in the first quarter. So
did you hear Ant explain why he's taking more threes?
Yeah, because he doesn't have any help. He can't depend on any other niggas.
No, he said.
Well, that's true too, though.
Yes, he said because I go to the basket and because I'm strong, they telling me, nah, you got to finish that. They're not calling a foul, and I'm getting fouled. So why am I gonna go in there and get beat up and possibly get hurt, take games off my career when I can sit out here and I'm still scoring 26 a game?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's shooting at respectable percentages. It's not like he's scoring 26 on 35% shooting on some Iverson shit. You know what I mean? Like, he's shooting at a respectable guard level, and it's just like, well, y'all niggas ain't gonna call the foul. I'm gonna shoot the 3. Hey, nigga, call the foul. So niggas go to the basket. I want to see dunks.
Do you think that Adam Silver should take a majority of the blame for this?
Majority? No.
Yeah, because even for something like that, if the officiating is an issue, that seems like it's something the commissioner.
No, I'm not going to say Adam Silver should take the majority of the blame for this because it's the self-sucking dick, man. You get these people who wanted to be good at basketball, weren't good at basketball, and didn't play basketball, right? Like look at your front offices. It's a bunch of white guys.
Right.
You've played basketball with white guys. How many white guys have you hooped with who actually hoop? Now, they might shoot, and they may be good basketball players, right? Like Peyton Pritchard can hoop. Like when you see him play basketball, he hoops. He's not kind of
ball.
Huh?
Austin Reeves can fucking ball.
Austin Reeves, he can hoop. Dalton Connect, he can hoop. But most of your white guys are Kyle Korver. They're 3-point shooters.
Yeah,
and
Dalton Connect.
High clip. And that's what they do. Now, you take these guys, maybe played in the league, maybe played in college, maybe played in high school.
JJ Redick.
Now they're in the front office. Well, no, not even JJ Redick, because Duke JJ Redick was a bucket. He shot the 3, but he had mid-range pull-up.
His bag, yeah.
Yeah, like JJ could hoop. But like these guys get in these front offices and they make the game look like they want it to look based on how they played. And I think that's why we have so much love for the European game, because I'm convinced NBA front offices do not love American basketball. American basketball is I'm better than you and I'm going to score on you. And then we're going to play some team ball while we're there. Like when Ant-Man was complaining about the double teams and saying, like, man, I'm 25, bro. I'm trying to score. That's American basketball. You're trying to win, but but first you're trying to score. Yeah, because like I remember one game we getting beat at halftime and coach is like, ain't none of y'all playing hard. Anybody in here think they playing hard? I'm like, me. He was like, playing hard, like I got like 6 points on 3 shots. I'm just not getting the ball. So like I'm good. Like I'm in a rhythm. Like when I get the ball, I'm feeling good. I'm not getting the ball.
Yeah.
Second half, I go out and have 15 points in the second half. Why? Because I'm like, yo, nigga, I'm cooking. Give me the ball.
Yeah. Read the floor.
Right. But like, that's American basketball. And like, we still lost that game, like, because we got up by a lot. We got down by a lot. We tried to come back, didn't win. I was like, oh, shit, nigga, I had 21. Shit, nigga, I'm good. I balled.
Yeah. And
but
so
that's American basketball culture. And they don't like that shit because, like, these niggas will tell you Stephon Marbury wasn't a good basketball player.
He's like a 3-time All-Star.
He was 20 and 10, nigga.
Yeah. Well, look, hey, this is the same NBA, though, that debated a 30 and 10 Trae Young, like, getting home to the All-Star game.
And they don't even want to let 24 and 12 Trae Young in the All-Star game.
Oh, they have no
who's winning games
this year.
I mean,
they
might let him in the All-Star.
To be honest, they're going to let LaMelo start. It seems like he's going to be the starter. It's going to be D. Mitch is obviously going to be the other guard. But like Trae Young, low key should be.
No, it's the new format, so I don't even know how that looks now. It's not even like the same shit we're used to, where like it would be LaMelo would start.
Starting teams.
Yeah, but like it would be like LaMelo would start, but then Trae would be the East guard in crunch time in a close game when like when they got the dogs in, when it's Tatum, Giannis, you know what I'm saying? Like Trae's running point. I said East. Bron ain't in the East.
Well, I don't because it's gonna be three different teams.
Well, no, I'm speaking like if it were the traditional, like Trae would be the crunch time guy because he's a vet, he's got his playoff chops. But niggas don't even.
He's entertaining.
Bro, niggas will tell you Trae Young's bad at basketball.
You remember Kyle Lowry was in.
Don't get me started, bro.
In that famous picture.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, Kyle Lowry was on the floor.
Charges, little fat ass.
Taking charges.
Where do you want to go? Let's talk a little bit of actual culture. And I think the easiest way to go from sports to culture is to talk about Whitlock, because I don't think there's anybody in the YouTube podcast media game right now that is blending sports and culture and really taking sports and having a higher level conversation about culture and more really the Black community, which is something I think we try to do here.
Yeah.
Like, hey, niggas, we like sports and we talk sports, but we don't want y'all to think we're sports people.
Yeah.
Like, we want y'all to think that we are people who use sports and are doing well enough in life that, like, we give you something that you can walk away with to make you a better human being.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's what Jason Whitlock is doing. Even when you might disagree with what he's saying, all in all, Jason Whitlock is somebody who's out here speaking against sexual immorality. He's speaking against sexual irresponsibility, and he's promoting the importance of the Black family, the nuclear family. And that's a very important thing. Like, trust and believe, there will be a podcast one day where I can really get into the nuclear family bag. It's not
especially once we get off of football season.
Well, I've got
But yeah, I'm just saying, off season. The summer, of course, it's going to be.
Oh yeah, this summer. Oh yeah, because let me tell y'all, don't shoot the messenger. I know a lot of you niggas are really woke and y'all don't listen to R. Kelly anymore, and that's fine. You don't have to listen to R. Kelly because you don't agree with the lifestyle that he lives or the things that he's done, lived, or said. But don't tell me the music's bad. You can tell me you disagree with Whitlock's stances. You can tell me you disagree with Whitlock. You can tell me he's a hypocrite. You can tell me he's a fat fuck, a fat bastard, a fat bitch. You can tell me all of this stuff. But what you can't tell me is, for one, he's not good at getting his message across. And he does not have a message that is well-intentioned and is for Black people being better as a race in America.
And
you cannot listen to Whitlock and tell me that he doesn't care about Black.
And even better, he brings citations with him. This isn't just an opinion based pulling it out of my ass. No, he's giving you real-time data and citing himself while doing it. And even you did a good job of essentially of telling of how he blends sports and culture. And think about it, he takes the culture of sports, right? That's why he can bring up a Gilbert Arenas clip, another podcast show speaking on something, and then him being able to break down that and bring it, basically wrap it all up and put a bow on it to his message and putting it together. Whether he goes in and he brings out the idea of, okay, the FS1 drama and stuff like that. It's a sports topic, but it's not a sports topic. That is a corporate America, and just at higher ups and just the way that this stuff really is going on.
That's a life topic. People are fucking everywhere, and they're using their fucking to get something or using their fucking to hold something over somebody. That's life.
and they're and like he said too, you know, their dick is doing the talking. That's the head that they're using, that niggas are using. Niggas are using their dicks to talk, like to talk for them. You know what I mean?
Bro,
It's a discipline thing, bro. Like,
yeah. And what he talked about, his dick is like one of the nastiest places or something like that. Like,
most unholy place.
yeah, and like that's real shit. Yo, back in my day, my dick did some unholy shit.
And
legal and consensual.
Right. And he calls a spade too. You know, Cam Newton, this is the same guy that was laughing at a woman reporter talking about Devin Funchess running a route. But then, you know, Cam, you know, he and look, I like Cam, but Cam, you know, he gets up there and he's stepping fetches for Molly, you know, because obviously everybody's talking about the other network. He's like, well, let me boost our girl up real quick. And like he said, you know, he's out here doing this because he's trying to hit them. You know, I mean? You have to keep that door open.
Like, P, you know what I got for a nigga like Cam?
What's that?
Oh, bitch. Oh, shut the fuck up.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, just think about it. A guy who doesn't really know Joy and Cam, another guy and Stephen A, both admittedly don't really know Joy, are then shitting on somebody who worked on a show with her, worked at a network with her, was in the same building as her for multiple years. We're talking about like 5 years. This wasn't just like his last year was her first year and they were past. No, nigga, no. They were in that building together for many years.
Right.
You see things, you hear things. But the niggas who don't know because they consider themselves more appealing to women and have a better way with women, which I think is super corny that Cam did. Like, you're not that guy. Like, hey, Cam, these women are going for who they're going for, bro. Like, I get it. Like, if I walk into the club and Cam walk into the club, yeah, Cam, you got it, big dog. Off the walk-in, you got it. No problem. But if we meet somewhere at like an even playing field and we just sitting there like chopping it up with these chicks and talking, I love me. Because I ain't never been 6'5", 6'6" with muscles pretty as fuck. I had to get it talking. I trust my talking. But point being is like, speaking on another man's dick like that, bro, that shit's corny as fuck. And try to say like, nigga, you don't get no pussy. Nigga, we're grown. We are grown. If me and you ever got into a debate,
he didn't disrespect you, so why are you disrespecting him?
Yeah.
He's telling you about the workplace that the environment that was going on around him, and he's saying that he doesn't see any surprise in it. And he said that he didn't even have any problems with Joy. He said he didn't have any problems with the executive. He didn't have any problems with Acho, any of these guys. He's just piecing it together of, well, now that makes a whole lot of sense for why my negotiations went the way they did. That's why Marcellus Wiley has a potential lawsuit here. If all of this stuff is in fact true, he's got something to bring to the table. He's just showing how the work culture is. And now they're taking it to where everybody thinks that this man is trying to fuck Joy. Like that he was the I can't get a hug ass nigga. Like, you know what I mean? The way that everybody that they want to play this, as opposed to they cut up one clip, and it's a funny ass clip. Peanut butter skin, big rack. It is a funny ass. I laughed when he said it initially, but at the same time, you cut out everything before and after it and took it out of context.
Because especially when he was saying, I know what I'm capable of. It's like, I know that if I'm around her, I'm going to try to fuck her.
Yeah.
Which means I make myself vulnerable, which means I'm not focused on what I'm here for. Not that she's going to just give it to me and like she's going to be one of mine. It doesn't matter what she does if she's with it. My attempts as somebody who's senior to her here, somebody who has their own show, that's enough for her to leverage that over me and get me up out of here.
Yeah.
And the point is, don't put yourself in a situation to where they can get you up out of here. You're supposed to have, what is it, a work life, a personal life, and a private life.
Yeah.
And that's all he was getting at. And I hate that because it is so favorable in Black America to not like Jason Whitlock because of some of his political beliefs. I rock with some, I don't rock with others. But
Yeah.
like, because we as black people aren't supposed to like Whitlock, then we're not supposed to like or agree with anything that he says, even if we agree with it and it's valid. That's bullshit.
It's BS. And then the fact that you won't even hear him out, it's literally the judging the book by its cover type thing. And because he's fat, black, and he's a conservative. Now he doesn't know what he's talking about. He never got any bitches, because that's what all that matters in life, right? Like, did you get bitches? Like, and it's like, oh, you didn't get no bitches. It's like, oh, so you're lame. Like, that's like that's like the common sense that niggas use. Like,
Bro,
that is the rubric for determining if a nigga knows what he's talking about, whether you're gonna listen to a nigga, whether he knows what he's talking about or not. Because there's plenty of niggas out here that don't know what they're talking about that people listen to.
Parlay P, after 25, who do you know that can't get bitches? Excuse me, or get women? Like somebody that you spend time with.
Yeah, I know none, but I'm gonna put it in the private chat. It's not a guy. I don't actually. It's unfair for me to do this, but I'm just gonna say this.
There are guys who I know aren't like swimming every weekend, you know, but like
niggas like that, maybe, you know what I mean?
That's different. But even still, he got one.
Yeah, that's true too. So
and maybe maybe Buddy's a straight up simp.
Maybe.
But simps pools too.
Yeah.
Chicks be wanting simps.
Yeah.
So like, even if I don't agree with your game, even if I don't respect your game, bro, I don't know many dudes who don't have the ability to entertain women to the levels that they want to at this point in my life. So like, what are we talking about? Yeah, now when you're 16, it's some guys who got it, some guys who don't, because we're going through puberty, different levels of confidence. Bro, I was never taught to even how to holler at a girl. I had to figure that shit out on my own. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Where some people like had older brothers, dads, uncles, and like you just learn little this and that. Not, bro, like everybody's at a different level. But by 25, bro, I don't have a friend who I've not been with who hadn't been somewhere and pulled something. And I ain't even saying that he popped, but like the way like we move and do stuff, like we can meet a chick and we can get her to go to 2-3 bars with us, hop in the Uber with us. Yo, if you hop in the Uber with me, I can fuck you. If I want to, you know what I'm saying?
We can go back to Josh Holsey's house.
Well, yeah, like we can meet, bro. We can meet chicks out and then bring them back to a house setting. Yo, if we can bring,
you don't even have to fuck them. Like, you know, even on no shit like that. We're just cool enough. And now maybe it eventually sets itself up to be that point, but like that didn't even necessary, because we're not going out with that mindset anyways.
No, that's not our vibe. We go out to meet people. Honestly, what do we want? We really want to do. We want to go out and meet some cool chicks while we're out. And if we have a home base to go back to the home base, because we already got all the stuff that we need there. Go back there, chill, talk.
Yeah, we're heterosexual men. We're going to talk about our stuff as a group, and then it's nice to meet other people and join them in and see where it goes from there.
Yeah, but like I don't think you and I have ever gone out with the plan of like, hey, bro, we're gonna grab 2 tonight and we're gonna clean them up.
Yeah,
because like niggas don't even. Bro, if you think about it, like when we move, we typically move independently.
Nigga said,
like,
we're gonna clean them up.
Like, but I'm just being real. Like,
no, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Like, even if we meet a group, right, and we bring them back to where we are, if somebody's working something, you start working at like by yourself throughout the night. You know what I mean? Like, we don't like, we're not really throwing. I mean, we throw oops in the sense of, hey, if I back in the day, if I would bring a group through, right? Hey, what's up with so and so? I wanna. All right, bet. I'll let Shorty know. Like, I'm not gonna give you her number, even though you're my guy. Like, I don't. And not saying that any of my friends would ever ask me for a girl's number, because like, nigga, we're grown. Like, that's lame.
Yeah.
But it's just like I'll let her know, and if she tell me to give you the number, like, I got you, bro. Or like, I'll shoot her your number, and if she hits you up, boom. But like, that's just kind of how we work. So I don't know, man. The whole getting chicks thing is lame. Another thing that I think is lame, and one thing that I love about what Whitlock does, is when he shits on the jocks. Now, I think we need the jocks in the media, but I also think we need journalists in the media. And that kind of takes me to DJ Academics. And I don't want to go too deep in what Act did this week because I don't want to give that the actual story that I'm talking about. Like, I don't even want to talk about that specifically.
Yeah.
But there's a reason why we need, like, why in traditional journalism you had to cite things multiple. You had to have multiple sources on something to cover.
Which is why
bag.
Whit gets his flowers, because, like I said, he's citing his shit in real time. Like,
and he's not getting sued.
Right.
But like what Act did, and I don't know, and he loves Drake. I get it. You have a problem with certain people who's supposed to be cool with Drake, supporting Kendrick. But then to try to take some DMs and put pieces together and go and even though, yeah, you may have reached out to some people or talked to some people, but to expose that to somebody who's done nothing to you, somebody who's not even in your realm. It would be different if he was like the shady nigga who covered sports. But we're talking about an athlete.
BSO.
Yeah, like you don't cover sports, but because this person was right.
Sports.
Yeah, or like if you were TMZ, cool, expose it. Because this is like celebrity, but you are into black culture and hip hop. And yeah, this person is black, but this person is not black culture hip hop. This person is sports with some hip hop, with some black culture, with a whole bunch of other stuff. And to put out allegations that could affect someone's home, and not because of what you put out is new information, but because you've put it out. Like, people don't, a lot of like lame ass niggas who ain't really had like legit girls and been through shit don't understand this stuff, dog. A lot of times, dog, you can fuck up and your girl can be sick about it. But like, if it stays in between you, your girl, and that individual did not disrespect your girl, whether you hid your girl from her or like y'all just didn't talk about her, bro, like you got a chance to fix that.
Yeah.
But then when you start putting stuff out there and then like now your girl's getting embarrassed, it's a whole different thing. And what Act did, he put it out there for somebody's wife to be embarrassed, somebody's wife of many years, somebody who's been invested into a relationship for 20 plus years. You know what I mean? Like, bro, that shit is
parents together that have children that are of age to read it as well.
Yeah, bro, like that shit is just fucking whack. And like, I assume if shit is what I assume it to be, the oldest son knows. And the oldest son has probably told the middle son now because he's 17, 18. And bro, the game is the game, right? But
Nigga,
to put that shit out there.
Are you sitting here and you telling me this is this love and basketball thing?
I'm not.
All state, nigga. You know what scene I'm talking about from Love and Basketball.
Yeah, bro. Like, bro, Parlay P, let's be real. If you and I played in the NBA and we were just guys on the mid-level and we had a main lady, maybe wife, maybe just a chick who we have kids with, right? But like, she's our main, we take care of her, all of that stuff, right? She's our +1 to anything we go to in public.
Yeah.
She gonna kind of know what's up. Even if we don't talk about it, she gonna know what's up.
Yeah.
But then once somebody brings out what's up into the public sphere and then the blogs take that and run with it, that's a different conversation. And I just think that shit's whack. I think it's corny. I don't care if you're doing it for Drake. I don't care if you're doing it for the sake of media. Like, it's one thing to uncover a story that's a legit story, but to uncover what somebody's doing in their personal life that's not really a story, and that anybody who is anybody knows that that shit's probably true, but we just don't speak on it and we don't care about it.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I think it's his name, I'm drawing a blank on it. As my man from ESPN, or he used to be on ESPN, would say, it was a cornball brother.
Oh, my man, Rob Parker.
Yeah, Rob Parker.
Act's a cornball brother. And honestly, that's why we need guardrails in media, and we have to be careful about who we give power to, because yes, Academics does some good stuff. He has great following, But when we get to a place to where we care way more about opinions than we do about facts, like, nigga, no, I want facts and then I want to hear opinions. Like when I'm watching football, I want to watch games and then I want to hear people talk about them. Now, I don't watch every game anymore because I have a life. But then when I go to hear the game talked about to actually learn what happened, I'm going to people who talk about the game, obviously with a bias, but from a more factual point of view, an analytical point of view, than a Colin Cowherd, a Nick Wright, a Stephen A. Smith, even a Shannon Sharp today, because of the role that he plays in football. Like if I want to hear about the game, I'm going to go listen to Todd McShay. I'm going to listen to Ryan Russillo and McShay. I'm going to go listen to Chris. Oh my God, I forgot his last name yesterday too. You know his dad, Fox. Chris Long. I'm gonna listen to guys. Back when Lombardi actually talked football and wasn't a GM at UNC. Listen to people who are gonna break down the game and then give their opinion, not somebody who's just spouting opinions with like,
just spewing nonsense almost, really.
Like, bro, the guy he's fucking with can get you canceled. Like, you think your guy, Drake, is him? This nigga got more money than him and is far more profitable to more people than Drake is. Well,
Drake's never just even openly came out and like, has he ever even done like Extreme? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it ain't even like, this is all just like hearsay, source type thing.
They apparently talk like in DMs and stuff like that.
I'm not saying that they don't, but I'm just saying like it ain't like he's like what would be the equivalent? How Aaron Rodgers goes on McAfee.
Yeah, no, it's not that.
You can hear the real, like he has him on there every week. Like this is somebody that he communicates with in the public for everybody to see. You don't see that. So
I don't know. Drake's corny. And speaking of Drake, he withdrew one lawsuit. And we all thought that he settled.
Yeah.
But then he filed another one today. And I honestly want to pull up UMG's response to it because they were just so they stood on business, as the kids would say, in their response.
Yeah.
And you typically don't see that type of stuff publicly when it comes to legal stuff. So Drake filed a defamation lawsuit against Universal Music, pretty much saying like they promoted him being a pedophile. Here's part of their response. Not only are these claims untrue, but the notion that we would seek to harm the reputation of any artist, let alone Drake, is illogical. We have invested massively in his music, and our employees around the world have worked tirelessly for many years to help him achieve historic commercial and personal finance success, said UMG spokesperson. They added, throughout his career, Drake has intentionally and successfully used UMG to distribute its music, excuse me, and poetry to engage in conventionally outrageous back and forth rap battles to express his feelings about other artists. He now seeks to weaponize the legal process to silence an artist's creative expression and to seek damages from UMG for distributing that artist's music. We have not and do not engage in defamation against any individual. At the same time, we will vigorously defend this litigation to protect our people and our reputation, as well as any artist who might directly or indirectly become a frivolous litigation target for having done nothing more than write a song. Hey, Drake, suck my dick. You know we pay you, right? We got more money than you. Do you really want to do this?
Well, if he's got the proof.
I don't think he has the proof. I think the only proof that he has outs him because he can talk about the way they push certain stuff that's advanced his career. But I also think that UMG may have put some extra sauce on Not Like Us, but it's not because it was not to kill Drake in these negotiations the way he thinks it is. Like, bro, Drake, you're not doing the numbers you once did, so they don't have to pay you the numbers that they once paid you. Even though you're the top, you can get paid at the top of the market, but that doesn't mean you get paid what you got paid, you know?
Yeah,
but no.
Jordan on the Wizards.
Yeah, bro, Not Like Us was a great song. It was a bop. Like, the first time I heard it, I'm like, got him. That shit went.
Oh, he a fan. He a fan. He a fan.
Yeah, bro, it was just a good song. And if you have a good song and then you have this beat
nigga,
behind
he a 69 God.
yeah,
Hey,
like, bro,
run for your life.
why would you not promote that song even more because you know it's popular, given the beef, given the actual quality of the song, bro? Like,
he's a fan. I giggle. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it ends up turning out, though. I think that there's got to be some sort of proof because he wouldn't be taking it this far if he didn't. And I don't think, his feelings are hurt, and obviously he feels that way, like that that they tarnished his reputation. And I think obviously you can look at it and say that he lost the beef. I still believe that he had the best song in the beef, so that's just my opinion. But he lost the beef certainly from the internet perspective. He lost the beef. No matter what. It doesn't matter what I say. That's what happened. He had the best song. That's an opinion-based thing.
Yeah, zip your jacket. I want to see your chain.
There is no chain. There's no chain. I just, like I said, it'll be interesting to see how that ends up playing out. I have a feeling, I know that obviously the first one went down and now it's this one. I have a feeling that this is going to be settled out of court. That's just my opinion.
It's going to be settled before the Super Bowl.
Oh, well, because, that's going to be interesting how they handle it.
That song's getting performed even if he does the instrumentals and let the crowd.
They not like us. You don't think that? I don't think he's going to do the lyrics. I think that it'll be part of well, it'll be a medley. And he'll just dun, 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 crowd do it. They not like because that part of it obviously can be used in sports, like. You can use that in so many different ways.
But isn't Drake proven that he's not like us with the litigation versus UMG, with the alleged pumping up of act to promote some stuff that's interfering with his new op? Like that just show, like, bro, that ain't nigga shit, man. And you trying to be for the culture, quote unquote, and like. It's almost like you're crashing out to prove who you are or prove who you aren't, but you're truly proving who you are, and you're proving to be who Kendrick said you were.
And that's not the culture.
Yeah. I mean, it's okay to be not of the culture. I mean, Drake, you were raised by your white Jewish mom. Like, that's not black culture.
You're from
Canada. Your dad's black. You're from Canada, bro. Like, that's not American black culture, and that's not a knock. It's just a fact. Like, bro, I'm not California culture, nigga. I'm Southern.
Yeah,
I like Zen and domestic light beer, nigga.
Could you imagine if Biggie made a record talking about he's not West Coast to Tupac?
Like, what are we doing?
Because well, I'm just saying.
He's not.
I know. That's my point.
But he adopted the West Coast like many people do when they go out there. Speaking of the West Coast, as we get up out of here, we want to give our thoughts and prayers to the people who are out there in the Palisades in LA. Yes. I know we talked about it last week, and we know somebody who was displaced because of it. And I know somebody whose parents lost their house. And, it's sad, it's unfortunate. I don't want to get into the conspiracies or the politics around that, because whether or not the politics and the insurance stuff happen, I mean, I know that some of these things happen and they're facts, but now is not the time to focus on that type of shit when people, I don't care if they're rich, I don't care if they're poor, people are losing their house. People are inhaling bad air. People whose houses aren't even like in danger are in danger just because of the air. You know what I mean? Like, it's an unfortunate situation.
Yeah, bad ass.
Yeah, I don't wish that on anybody. As somebody with asthma, bro.
And if you have a job where you have to go to work, literally.
Yeah, and work outside.
You also have to be displaced, and you can't because then what does a job do? They can't just give you a paycheck. You know what I mean? Like, they can't. You have to take off from work. If you've got PTO, you might not have PTO. The bills that you have, if you didn't, I don't think it's wise to not have insurance on your house, but some people don't have insurance on their house. So
some people lost their policies, man.
Yeah, that too. And so you start talking, and then let alone if you've got things like your mother died and you got something that was a keepsake. And granted, I would hope that everybody that did have to get this place tried to grab as much as they could, but sometimes you can't get everything either.
Can't grab everything.
Yeah.
And so it's sad, man. And I just think that, it goes back to having some gatekeepers at times. I think that everybody has a right to speak their opinion, but everybody's opinion doesn't have to be heard. And some of these thoughts and feelings and opinions, man, I just think they're totally out of pocket. Like I saw something where it's like, oh, they're burning the evidence. All right, cool.
That's a super conspiracy theory, though.
Yeah, and it's just like, yo, niggas who aren't even tied into that stuff lost their house. Fuck,
yeah, it's
fuck,
insensitive.
Even if your conspiracy is true, if I lose my house, bro, I'm not trying to hear that. I'm not trying to see that on my timeline, bro. Have some compassion.
Yeah,
I ain't saying you got to donate to no cause. If you do donate, I would recommend not donate to the American Red Cross. Donate directly to nonprofits that you trust or people that you know. But nah, that's some bullshit. But anyways, Parlay Pete, we've been here for 3 hours. I ain't got much left. You got anything you want to just got to get to?
I feel like we've emptied our canteen.
All right, dog, man. This was fun. I'll make sure I get the clips cut up sometime before Saturday to get those out there, man. It was great talking to you. And nigga, I'll probably be texting you like in 10 minutes.
All right, brother. Salutations, good people.
All right, dog.
All right, brother.